Go ahead.
Call this meeting of the Archaeological Review Committee of 22 May to order. May we have the roll call, please?
Member Pierce,
Here.
member Treese,
Present.
member Bechtel. Here. Member Juan,
Excuse.
Chair Eck,
Present.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. First item to deal with is approval of agenda, which we have multiple versions submitted on NOS. Thank you for getting these together.
You're welcome.
Do you guys have anything you want to say about all of it?
The minutes for the agenda?
Excuse me. I need to go home. Not sleeping is great. Agenda, please. Think about it, comment, make a motion.
Any changes?
No changes?
No changes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the very large agenda for the meeting of May 22nd.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now. Approval of there. Catch up to myself. What are they? Do you need, we want to deal with all these stuff block, or do you want to go through one at a time? I have a couple of things I noticed on some of the minutes and went through it. Okay. And then bring those.
I have one, two.
Something I had to give, I didn't read the minutes. Congratulations, I'm only the only sane member of the group. I read them all in great detail. So let's do them one at a time so that it's a little more orderly. Minutes for May 23rd, 2024.
I have a question about under A, on page 2 of May 23rd. And it says it though in subsequent meetings, it says, all items in the committee packet, blah, 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 are available on the city of staff website. And I would just like to know where. Okay, that we can give an address or a bit more, be just a bit more specific about that, and then how long it'll be on the city's website. Because my experience of the city's website is, and that it would be nice to have the address to know where it actually lives.
Okay, and is that for the actual minutes or is that for a case packet?
It's under A, under roll call, under right before approval of agenda, it says note on page 2.
Okay.
And I believe it's on every one of them. Okay. So I would just correct, I would just give a bit more hint to the public that might want to know where these minutes are stored.
I will fix that. Thank you.
Sarah, member Bechtel, this is our template to writing our minutes, so this is something that we'll revise moving forward. So thank you for that notice. Because generally, all ARC information is not on the website. Right. So this comes from an HDRB template, so we'll have to revise that. Thank you.
All right, and related to that, we'd like to stipulate that not all items in this packet are available for anybody to view, because 90% of what's in this packet is confidential and is therefore not subject to review. So you might want to make that clear too, so that some miscreant doesn't think that he's gonna actually get information. It's just a fair minimum.
Yes, Chair X, we will have that removed from these documents and from further documents showing the packet is available on the website.
Anybody else? Let the record show that Mr. Lawrence is here, so we have everybody in attendance. I have one item for May May 23rd. Page 5. Second to the last paragraph, second to the last line. Right in the middle. Easement, not ease. Okay,
Oh, and Dr. Seltzer Rogers. Hopefully she's a doctor.
we're speaking of a different.
Oh,
Heather's.
Heather.
Heather.
So maybe we need to change that. I just caught that. Sorry.
Good
Your
idea.
wife, that's your phone.
Good idea.
I don't think she can find.
Yeah. She grin and say thank you, but no, it's not true. June 27th, 2024. Rectal
Have mine for the next one.
streets. I'm fine with that. Here's next to the ones. Mr. Pedantic here. Page 3 or the minutes of 27. Last paragraph on that page, second line. PLSS, all capitals, that stands for Public Land Survey System. Page 5. Fifth paragraph, last line. The word embellish lacks its terminal ED. It needs it, or does it make sense? August 22nd, Rebecca.
Page 11. I have no idea what that sentence, that paragraph, it says, member Bechtel inquired if the P&M ditch, which was protecting a plume in the newspaper in this area, is part of the project. I have no idea. I mean, without going back,
No.
11 on August 22nd.
First item under committee discussion,
Mm-hmm.
first paragraph. Yeah, I wondered about that. Please. No. Okay. Here's nothing. Ones. Moving on. Minutes of September 26th, 2024. Rebecca.
I don't think I have anything.
Patrice? No. Here? No. The one? Page 11 of, but you'll also bear with page number 14, so I'm not sure. In the footer, it says 11 of, so I'm believing it to be page 11. 14. Seventh paragraph. One of the many things I said, I apologize for saying too much, but it's, in this case, should not have an apostrophe. And it's of October 24th, and Rebecca.
Yep.
Retreat. October 24th, yes, I do have something. See what. I didn't get that because I was still looking at it, so I couldn't figure out which its there's two in that paragraph. I can't figure out. Yeah, please. The only one with the apostrophe. They both have it. But, I'm looking at something that says, for this project, the 1596-1600, the case was reheard on August 22nd. A revised recommendation by the archaeologist for a 10-meter cultural preservation easement. I don't remember us talking about 10 meters. So The second page, staff report, third paragraph. Ah, yes. Third paragraph of the staff report. There was discussion at 10 meters, and I have no idea who first raised the number of 10 meters. It was not further discussed as far as I remember. It being obvious that if it was a 10-meter easement, there would be no place whatsoever to build anything.
I believe we end up going with the archaeologist, which is in this case, Ron Winter, just kind of going on topographic breaks, right?
Yes.
Where it began to rise and where it began to be easement.
And brain serves me. The recommendation for the 10-meter cultural preservation easement was attributed to staff by someone in attendance. Whether that's accurate or not, I don't know, but I seem to recall that.
Direct, that was a recommendation I made at the site visit with the homeowners and the applicant, Doug McDowell. We pulled the tape from the center of the Sequoia segment to the toe of the slope, and it was 23 feet.
Yeah.
And where they were putting the corner of their building was right at that 23rd foot from the toe.
Right.
So we wanted 5 more meters or 5 more feet from that.
Right.
And they weren't willing to budge.
Right.
And we went on the toe of the slope after Ron's survey and corrected that cultural preservation easement. And then that's now their new footprint.
Right. Right.
So would it be fair to amend the minutes in this paragraph to say revised recommendation by the staff?
Sure.
Not the archaeologist? All right. Minutes of January 23rd, 2025. Member Becker,
Nope.
number 3.
I'm listed as present and I was at the Grand Canyon.
Oh. Well,
I wasn't on Zoom.
This is
wherever you were, there you were.
Remember you were present.
In the moment.
Right.
Okay. Nice catch.
It does say later on, that, you know, this motion passed 4-0, this one passed 4-0. There were not 5 of us as the, attendant.
So the motion,
Wherever I
Renovations can't
listed,
be
I
corrected.
should, yeah.
it should all be 3-0 with the removal of member trees.
Oh, yeah, there's another one, the very last vote, it says 5-0, and that can't be, you don't vote much at the time.
Yeah. Yes, I just couldn't help myself. So enthusiastic perhaps.
Yeah, it was,
Oh, adjournment.
It was adjournment.
Yeah,
You might
it was
as well do it.
Clarify, Chair Eck, that's November 21st. You are
January 23rd.
January
Oh,
23rd.
January 23rd. Sorry, I was on November 21st.
Just to be sure. And then that is,
February 27th. Number back.
Nope.
Number 3.
I'm good.
Number 2. Nothing from me. Number 1. I have nothing. Minutes of March 27th, 2025. Member Becker,
Nothing for me.
Please, there are a couple of places where we're having discussions. And the chair is just referred to this as committee action. The chair is referred to as F, merely F. Like Sarah, yeah.
I did have one thing.
Typical reference. Could be dick, but, well, that's a fish disease.
There's a lot of discussion going on in the committee action section.
Okay.
And the third paragraph, it just says, X stated is the length and breadth of experience regardless of location. We were talking about how do we get new archaeologists and historians, I guess.
Page 11. Is that where you want it?
I see one on page 7.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I
it.
see
Oh, yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Right on.
I saw at least 2 or 3 different places where proper deference wasn't given to the chair.
Just for the record, I thank you all for deference, but it is definitely not necessary.
Oh, I've got one too, on page 13, it's clear, looking at it. And I believe too, Mr. Lance Stowe's name is left off of, on page 10. Page 2.
Yeah. This reads very much as military notes. You never give anybody anything after you introduce them, so that's just a thing. Unless, of course, you're sucking up to the brass.
Yeah,
Um,
page 11 or so.
Page 11, in the middle, where Ed says something. The word last ed should not have an ed, it should be last. Or latest. Either one.
Okay.
Page 15. Very first line. Erasure is spelled U-R-E. Second to the last paragraph on the same page. Through the character, Chair Eck pointed out one editorial matter or item needs to be a word. I've not yet written any editorials. Go ahead and shoot me if I do. That's all. That brings us to the end of the minutes in hand. I'm gonna take a crack at them up.
Sure, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve all of these minutes with the stipulated corrections to those that need them.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carried.
Chair,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pierce, members of the committee, how did you guys like these minutes? Were they enough information, too much, not enough,
Like, other than the corrections we just noted, yeah, I thought they were about right.
adequate?
Yeah.
Okay, because we're writing them, so we're gonna try to do our best to keep them in that way. Thank you.
They're better than the sort of bare bone summary we had before the minute disappeared for a while.
Right, yeah, we're trying to get better at it.
Yeah, they're much into.
We're not scamming ourselves. We're trying.
Yes.
We're trying our best.
We appreciate all your effort. Item 5 on the agenda, matters from the floor. There are numerous people in attendance. If anyone has a matter to raise from the floor, now is the time to do it.
I do.
Sir, you'll have to be sworn, identify and sworn in.
Will you please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record?
Rick Martinez, 725 Sea Road.
Thank you, Rick. Do you solemnly declare and affirm the testimony you were given, in regards to this item shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, and do this under the penalty of perjury.
I do.
Thank you, sir. His big sworn chair.
Thank you. What can we do for you?
Okay, well, I came to you guys, I can't remember the date I came back to you, but this is about, Dos Acequias, it's off Alafria Street, next to, used to be a lot of going to school, Mandela School now. There's an old acequia that ran through there, and the developer was, Pulte Development. And, it was the developer before that, and he sold the land to Pulte bought it, but completely obliterated the acequia that is there. I'm not sure if you guys remember this. Yeah, so anyway, that was back in 2019, that was the preliminary plat approval that's going on. And, the acequia, the medio that runs that was completely destroyed. For some reason during the process, they called it the Arroyo de la Hoyas. So I couldn't figure how that happened, but to this date, fast forward to 2025, there's been nothing done, there's been any mitigation done to satisfy what the public has been asking for us to kind of remediate that acequia or make it look like acequia, because we walk behind a lot of what the park, you can see is the acequias through there. When we walk past the development, there's still the acequia sitting back there. But I went to H-Board has nothing to say about it, they're quiet, and they have nothing to do about acequias. I know you guys do, but my question is for everybody, what do I do next? How do we get the thing done? All they offered me was a plaque on one of the bridges that crosses the acequia after they made that whole development there. So I'm kind of lost on how do I go about, the city doesn't seem like they ignored anything west of St. Francis Drive that's historic. So I'm kind of worried, if we keep this thing that happened, what goes next? Is anything with St. Francis protected? These are all the sectors that run through there, that are platted. The developers can get away with it every time. So I'm just coming to you guys for advice. I know you guys can answer my questions, but it's just, I'm just kind of frustrated that I'm at the point to who's listening to me. Am I just a broken record? And it feels like I am, but I just don't know. And maybe you guys can help me out, but I know we had back when I first reported it was 2 months after they had destroyed it that I said about it. But there was no citations, there was nothing happening to them, and I would say that it was a mistake. But they're not fixing that mistake. So that's all I have to say. And if you could give me some advice somewhere down the line as to where I can go next, I don't want to go to didn't really want to do the press. I don't want to really do a lawyer, but the lawyer will help me. So, I'm kind of at a crossroad now. I just want to figure out what's the next move. But I don't know what you guys can't do anything. So I just need to bring that. But you guys are in control of these old historic stuff here. And archaeological report, your archaeological report said that they must mitigate this goes out of the state.
There was an easement on it?
Yes, yeah, but then they called it the Royal de la Hoyas, which never that, didn't call that. So I don't know what happened there, but I mean, that's all I have to, I don't want to come and say, bring this up again.
I thought, and I could be wrong, because this was a long time ago, but I could have sworn they said that they were mitigated and be contrary and match the ACPS on public record. They put it on public record. Like
We-
that's what they would do.
We have met with the developers, and the developers have said, that has told us nothing, they hadn't given us anything, like I said, the only thing they've given us was a placement of a plaque. Showing that there was a mistake in there.
So one good thing to do would be to pull the minutes from that meeting where we discussed it, and if they did in fact say on the record they were gonna do something, well, that's
So Chair,
something to work with.
Chair, Vice Chair Pierce, members of the committee, Courtney's right, and the ARC, I believe it was a Townsend report with the survey.
Mhm.
And he said this cultural site should be preserved. And the ARC made a determination for a 30-foot buffer from the center line for cultural easement. Cultural easement was established. Somehow from 2018 to 2022, that land was sold to from one private landowner to another private landowner, who then sold it to Pulte Homes or DreamWorks. And then the city staff who was reviewing the plans, and Pulte Homes who was doing the grading and drainage did not catch that easement. And they just, it got ignored and it got obliterated. And then my first day here at the city, my position was to go out to Pulte Homes and discuss this a second. So then I figured out, okay, I got with Richard, John Eddy, Phil Beauvais, and Hilario Romero from the village of Agua Fria. We all walked the site. Phil Beauvais was talking to the contractors and how do we redirect? He wanted to redirect the water into the San Antonio, the Acequia de San Antonio that abuts the Indian school. Because that Acequia is still pretty prevalent on that parcel. The en medio has kind of been developed over. And so he was trying to figure out, how do we pipe this instead of just create this big pond down here? Well, Pulte Homes decided to make this big, massive concrete pond, which has failed. So now Pulte Homes is now in a litigation with Santa Fe Architects and Engineering. So now Pulte Homes and they're having a whole nother issue, right? And so they're not mitigating the acequia. Now the acequia has been not even a thought anymore because now they're in litigation on this ponding because they're not getting CO, certificate of occupation right now for this development. And so there's another issue there, but we, at our last site visit, Mr. Martinez and John Eddy and I and Hilario walked the site and asked them to reestablish this acequia segment from the drainage that comes out of the pond and then extends westward of Agua Fria, kind of meandering through the subdivision. And they said they were going to work on that. And it hasn't happened. And so I've reached out to Cody North last week and he's like, it's out of my hands. I have no part of it. But actually he's the project director and we're in direct consultation. He's supposed to make it happen. So he kind of walked away. Now we're kind of in this place where what do we do now?
So can I make one more quick before I leave? During that time, the pond that the retention pond they built is supposed to drain in 24 hours. And they told me that, they cannot give out any COs to occupation of any of the units there. So apparently they are still giving out COs now because these people have purchased these homes and, they can't wait till they fix the retention pond for them. So they say that it's unfair for the people that bought these homes. But in the meantime, it doesn't make sense to me that, they're not doing the right thing and the public's being ignored, you know, and that's the other thing that bothers me. So that's all I really want to say. I just want to thank you guys for what you guys do and I try to do what I can do too.
Well, we thank you.
Thank you.
And if there is a call for an ad hoc team to do some ditch clearing, I own a shovel and will happily help.
Oh, okay. I own 2 shovels. What's the gold one too? I'll get coming up.
But, oh, Rick,
Get the cats.
before you go, would it be possible to work with the ARC in creating the signage? So we would like to establish signage on the acequia.
That would be great.
Share to the community. Is that something that I could work with Rick and the community members and then bring forth to the ARC for your input and kind of establish some good and educational information?
So
We do it.
alternative mitigation in lieu of.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. But
Never
then,
back till-
I know that the land use department is embarking on a acequia study. Right, aren't you?
We are.
Yes.
So couldn't that, I mean, it seems like plaques and things like that, you might hold off until you know what the whole thing looks like, as opposed to just a one thing, even though maybe gone before we get there.
yeah, well,
Or it's gone.
yeah, well, I experienced that with Secas de la Hoyas up by my house. They destroyed, the developer destroyed the Secas de la Hoyas. But we did get them to mediate it to put a fence behind their yard to have show that the acequia was back there. But this one is, I'm getting just a blind spot, so. Again, I thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So You're in the midst of doing some homework on this.
Oh, yes, we've been working with the community members and trying to do our best.
Let us know the next meeting what maybe learn, not that you come up with a solution, but just
Update.
kind of keep it on the burner instead of letting it bridge.
That happened during, COVID. Nobody was holding office on it, probably too.
I think I believe in 2022. Sometime maybe 2020 to 2022, that permit was approved and the contractors that did the, grading and drainage, it wasn't marked out. And so they just went through the whole site.
It would have been on the plat though, right?
It would have been,
For the plans, so.
Yeah.
Somebody just wasn't paying attention, and I know how those big plans go, they have some guy who's just walking around.
It's more convenient not to have it there.
Sounds like it's the city inspector missing.
Cody was running the job.
I believe it was the engineer, the city engineer at the time. That didn't catch it because they did the escarpment and they did the review of the draining and gradage, so they would have signed off.
Yeah.
And at that time, it just happened to happen.
Okay.
Can I ask just a question? Stephen Over, City of Water, City of Santa Fe Water Division. Is the water that flows through there, is that stormwater that you're talking about? Or is that, well, a secular flow water?
It's stormwater.
Okay, never mind. I just was curious if they're impounding the secular water, I should.
So the one at Hill, the one that he wanted to take it to is the Sakia water. The one that runs behind the school, the Indian school, that's the Sakia water.
Okay.
Bill
One
Bove
more
wanted to, yeah, Bill Bove wanted to move that water that catches from the Laragodi school and send it back down so people then can use the
Use
water.
it, yeah,
And that would have been a great idea, right?
it's uphill.
I mean, if they would have excavated it down in some kind of manner to the Sekia, I'm sure they could have figured something out.
Mhm.
But now they can't. Now they have this big concrete.
And I'm at a loss for remembering as to what the place looks like, so I would need to see maps to make sense of it.
I'll send you I'll send you all what I have.
I walk my dog back there.
So you know.
Yeah, I know it very well. My daughter learned to ride her bike on that lot.
Yeah. Okay. See, history is everywhere.
Mhm.
When is an Asakia abandoned? Existential question of the day. Old business is the next item on the agenda. Having done, we will move on to new business. Case number 2025-10450. City of Santa Fe Water Division applicant requests approval of an archaeological mapping plan for approximately 350 feet of subsurface water main pipe at Society Street and Kayla House in the historic downtown archaeological review district. Amanda, you wrote the staff report, anything to add or change on that front?
Yes, sir. The staff recommendation of the mistake, it says procedures for the Suburban Archaeological Review District and utility mains should read historic downtown. And that should be 14-3.13B4A. Not B.
Excellent. Thank you for that. All right, Stephen. This is your. Maybe anything to say about it?
I will keep most of my comments to myself, other than the page numbers are a little wacky.
You have to get sworn in.
No, because I'm a city employee, we don't usually swear me in,
Okay.
No. so we don't usually do that. But other than the page numbers being wacky, I don't have any other comments. I think the first few pages should probably be Roman numerals, and then on the actual, page 5 should be where the actual number 1 page number is. But other than that, I'll leave it up to you guys.
Committee. Let's start with number 1. It's easier for me if I can just go on a line. I forget, please don't love it. We're in the same boat.
Okay, so I didn't have any problem with the plan. My question is about the personnel. So this is the historic downtown. So you are going to be in the field?
I will be,
Okay, and then you will be supervised.
I will be,
You will both be in the field.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Chair Acting, Member Barnes, Gary, Heather, with Jesse Roach, John Delmar, Bill Huey, Public Utilities Department, we all sat down on Monday and discussed this out, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna support it? And how are we gonna do this stuff? So we're working out the plans now on how to do this in that manner.
Okay.
And,
Can I suggest that maybe you update the wording because right now he was gonna be out there about
I'm sorry, Member Wands, if I may interrupt. Can I get you guys just to elevate your voices just a little? For minute purposes? Thank you.
Can I make a follow-up suggestion? Could the city invest $20 in some extra microphones?
Then I'll just turn purple and
I mean, we have this fancy room down yonder that's got microphones everywhere, and we've got this room here, which has something that's kind of
Yes. Well,
high-techy, but it doesn't work so well.
so if you would be interested in changing the night that we have the hearing, I can get us into the chambers, but the chambers is used this night for a planning commission meeting sometime. So that's why it's not available, but I'll see what I can do about getting some better microphones.
Somebody somewhere has invented little hitchhiking extra microphones that can talk to this piece of junk.
Yes, sir.
You probably buy them from China, if you're gonna pay 3 times what you used to pay.
you know, the city just recently told us that you can only have one computer, either a laptop or a desktop. So you gotta figure it out. So Gary's been battling now with this. How does that work? How do you do that? So just know that the city, we're doing our best.
Get a Cadillac laptop,
So
and you can always plug it in.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Chair Eck will work on that in the future for this one, if we could please, this elevator voice.
Anything else, number one?
Yep, that was my big.
Number two.
Yeah, just one editorial comment. This is on, page 24, at least on my report. It's in the, table 2 of archaeological and historic properties within 500 meters. The 1, 2, 3, 4th entry. The description just says sea dart. Yep. I don't know what that means.
That was my personal note to write in there, the reference for the DART, report.
It was,
Yeah.
Okay.
I should have just put the whole reference in.
cool. Number three.
I had a couple of things. They're stupid. I like the maps for one. I really appreciate the maps. On page 29, maybe it's 28. Yes, 28 is 29 of the PDF, 28. The last word says remolding. I don't think it was remolding the property. I don't think anybody wants to remold their property.
I don't know where that is.
I'm assuming that's remodeling, so.
Yeah, it's the bottom of page, the last word on page 28 at the bottom of the elder level.
Oh, got it.
I had another, just probably a letter left off on page 33 of the report and 34 of the PDF that says the building design and architecture for the school were developed by no local architect. So that should be known, maybe.
Yes. Thank you.
Then page 48, probably 47. For some kind of a historical mention. During some expedition, the hands of an unnamed, I think that should maybe have a preposition, meant his death during the Balasura expedition, the hands of an unnamed Frenchman. That would be by the hands.
Or at hands.
Yeah. Whose ever hands.
I will say that the document that I pulled that from,
Said the same thing.
it was quite unclear as to whether the Frenchman killed him or he was killed during the expedition. It was, so I will figure a way to improve that.
Fascinating.
Then I have something else on page 56, probably 55, yes, 55, in the report, the 56 is the PDF, the bottom of the page. There's a word that I think means exist, but it says exits. Fourth line up. You see that?
Yes.
Is that right? Is it supposed to be exist or exits?
If it's supposed to be exits, that's a
Many of
Not
the buildings
very-
still exist.
exist, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
exist, I believe.
I think that's all, you know, like I said, they were stupid, just, you know, my fingers get mixed up. But I didn't have any problem with the report at all otherwise. I
Autocorrect
like
can be
the,
tricky.
I like the maps. I like maps.
Thank you.
That geeks are you now.
Me
Never
too.
back.
On the, this similar, 54, it says the Santander project vicinity on, figures 30 and 31. And 32 and 33. And also I'd like to point out, to the report maker that this is less than helpful. It's only helpful when you can blow it up on your digital copy. And
course.
so, for what it's worth, when I got here,
That might be better.
well, when I got here, then I had to open the PDF.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, I can't read what this is. So anyway, that's,
The quality of the aerials themselves is kind of,
right, and it's easier, it's much easier to, the fuzziness is more defined on the digital
gotcha.
map or the digital photograph.
Can you clarify your comment about project vicinity comment?
Santander is not the name of the road that this project is on. It's on Sasaya, it's near Sasaya.
Right.
Or,
Is it nearby? Or is this a?
no, it's not anywhere. I mean, if you put this map with the word Santander, they don't match. Santander is a different place.
Yeah.
It's up the road.
You're
The-
gonna explain why.
The figure captions need to be updated. These were from the previous report.
Bingo, because that's a theme.
Oh,
throughout
okay.
this document.
Gotcha.
Anything
That's all I have. Thank you.
Page 9, first paragraph. Second to last full line. Espanola lacks a tilde. Third paragraph. Third and second to the last complete line refers to a place that is not this project area. Calle Loma Norte and Calle de Anza.
Could you tell me what page that is again? Sorry.
Page 9.
Page 9. Gotcha.
And Kaya.
No, there it is in this.
It's actually spelled called the end. There's a D in there that doesn't belong.
Yeah.
Calle de, yeah. Wait, page 38. First paragraph under figure 15. the name of the stool lacks the word. Given the time, assuming it's advanced. Page 46. Now, I went down a rabbit hole here and I really don't have an answer. What is the place name? Is it Tanaya or Tayala? I found discrepancies on maps I looked to try to find an answer. So does anybody know?
I will say that the map that follows the Talaya Hill Grant map may be the one to go with.
I would,
So,
by
yes.
default, go with that.
Great.
So all of those Tayalas should be found on Yes. Page 50, figure caption. Flat. And have one T. It shows up with two there. And then this one really came out of left field. Page 51. First line under figure 26. The project area appears on the 1897 USGS Red Cloud, Nebraska topographic. Not sure. That would be good. We'll fix that. Page 52, caption again refers to Red Cloud. I think something on the government webpage bit you here. It tends to be sloppy about eliminating previous language and it can creep into what you caption.
Sure.
Believe. There's more Toyolos. And then the very last thing. Page 63, it's in your references cited, with reference to Wayne Phil's discussion of the biotic resources. The title is incomplete. It doesn't have the name or the kilovoltage specified, and the original document definitely does. But you're not the only one that's got bitten by this. I fear that there's a couple of bibliographic references floating around out there that people use, cut and paste, copy problems, and it lacks the full citation. So everybody's going down that rabbit hole. That occurs on 2 or 3 of these other reports. One of them has the full citation. That is our.
Sheriff, are ready for motion?
Yes.
I move we approve case 10450, ARP, City of County Ferry Water Division, requesting 350 feet of Texas water main pipe. Brilliant Street and Kiowa Plaza with the assistance of. I just have one question. And that is the trench is 3 feet wide. Is that right?
36 inches, I believe, yes.
Pardon?
36 inches, yes.
Yeah. And is that so because the pipe is so big and guys have to get in there and
Yes.
do something?
Yes.
So you need clearance on either side, because I was just thinking that's a really wide trench, but
Yes.
it's also a really big pipe.
Yes, totally.
Okay.
Really, the whole thing is, one, yes, guys need to work on both sides of the pipe, especially for installing valves and,
Right.
you know, screws to hold valves together and
Right.
stuff like that, but also because of the type of pipe that they use, PEX pipe most of the time, they have to really clear the bottom of the trench, so there's no rocks or anything up against the
Yeah.
pipe. The city water inspectors really don't like when there's rocks below the pipe,
Pressure
because
pipes or something.
as pressure goes through, the pipe shakes
Yeah.
and that can damage the pipes, which is the whole point of replacing this, is so that, because there's damaged pipe there. So a lot of that also has to do with just like clearing the bottom of the trench so that it's
Okay.
nice and clean and nothing impacts the pipes.
Okay, great.
Any other further discussion? We have a motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Stephen. Good job.
Case number 2025-10116. Jeremy Levin, applicant, requests approval for listing as an archaeologist for river and trails and suburban archaeological review districts on the city of Santa Fe's list of approved archaeologists and historians. All you wrote this, draft report, anything to add or change?
Tarek, members of the committee, if there were any editorial, discrepancies, I apologize. We were lunchtime and I did the best I could. No, sir. So,
Just need no paint flags. Applicant present,
He is.
Ron Zoom.
Jeremy,
Yes, I'm here.
will you please, raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record?
Yes, Jeremy Levin, 12353 Tierra Volcan Avenue, El Paso, Texas.
Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, and do this under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. He has been sworn.
Jeremy, you have the floor. What do you need to say?
Nothing. Last time we went through a lot of it, and I just needed to update my experience chart and CV to show that I met the 480 days required for listing as an archaeologist for the city of Santa Fe.
All right. If there's nothing further, we'll move to the committee. Member Bechtel,
No comment.
Member Treese,
I have nothing to offer, except that I really like the way the new chart is laid out. It makes things much easier to sort through. Yeah, way to go.
Member Pierce,
no comments from me.
Member Watts.
Sorry, no comments.
Circle this on your calendar, Jeremy. I have no comments either. It's a red letter day.
Oh, wonderful. I love it.
Motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move in case 10-116, applicant Jeremy Levin, that we approve his listing for a rivers and trails and suburban archaeological review.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Jeremy. We look forward to seeing something from you.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Paul.
Case number 2025-10439. Dr. Eric Lemon, applicant, requests approval for listing as an archaeologist for the historic downtown river and trails and suburban archaeological review districts on the city of Santa Fe's list of approved archaeologists and historians. Paul, you read this one too. Anything to add or change?
No, Chair. Thank you.
Dr. Blinman is present. He'll have to be identified and sworn in.
Hi, please state your name and address for the record.
Eric Lindman, 6 Frasco Road, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87508.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you will be giving tonight is the truth and the whole truth, and do this under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you, Chair. He has been sworn.
If you wish, you may speak. There's an empty table. I know you can be heard, but you will. Get closer to the mic. What do you want to say?
I'm finally getting around to coming out of the shell that developed after I was terminated from OAS. So I don't know how aggressive I want to be in participating in archaeology in Santa Fe, but there's seems to be a need and potentially value. If anything, I think the thing that bothered me most with my departure from OAS was the subsequent departures of Rick Montoya and Karen Winning, and that all of a sudden we're down in the inventory of functioning archaeologists for historic downtown archaeological review district, and whatever I can do to improve that. And part of it is my role may be more as mentor, supervisor, trying to get
Bless you.
more people brought up. That's my goal. You know, I don't need to work, but I'd rather help. So.
Wow. Members of the committee, for what?
I'm just confused why he has to reapply.
Mm-hmm.
For a very simple reason. I never applied before,
Right?
because I had people who would do that for me. Jim Moore. So there was no reason to create a fiction that I would be very much in the field.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, yeah, I was just curious. I was like, what?
yeah.
Member Pierce,
No, okay,
member Tree.
seems to have what it takes.
He doesn't work on big trouble.
You're excellent. Therefore, our second world record short items. Let's have a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that in case 10-439 ARC, we approve the listing of Dr. Blenheim on all three districts.
Whoops, sorry.
Second.
You got your wings.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Dr. Berman. It's great to have you back.
Okay, next. Case number 2025-10440. Dr. Thatcher Seltzer Rogers, applicant requests approval for listing as an archaeologist for the river and trails and suburban archaeological review districts and burial permit, excuse me. On the city of Santa Fe's list of approved archaeologists and historians. Paul, you wrote this one too. Anything to add or change?
No, Chair, thank you.
Dr. Seltzer Rogers is here. Be identified and sworn in.
Please raise your right hand, state your name and address for the record.
Patrick Seltzer Rogers, 10505 Hackleworth Place Southwest, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87121.
Thank you. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony that you have in reference to this item shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, and do this under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. She's been sworn, sir.
All right. Thatcher, you have the floor.
Yeah, I submitted the revised versions, and I'm also going to say that they are a lot cleaner and nicer, and I think that they'll fit better. So thank you, Paul, and to all those who worked on them. That they're very beneficial. They made things more streamlined. I welcome comments, questions.
We will go with
No comment.
member Bechtel, no comment, member Tree.
I have just one question, which is, so we have our template that's for experience, but I don't know what it's gonna take for a burial permit.
Well, the city actually doesn't have one. So
It's
if
language for the state that.
if one is listed with the state,
Okay. So, oh, if he's listed for the state, then he should be okay for the city, is that
Yeah.
what we're implying?
he'll go down on the list. It will have no mention whatsoever of burial permit.
Uh-huh.
But it will be listed on the state
I see.
register of.
So how, if the city doesn't have any qualifications for a burial permit, then how do we grant one? I guess.
Good question. Do we have to strike that phrase from?
Chair, members of the committee, that's a great question because it's on our application. So if you're qualified, however, the ARC can be more restrictive on their review than the state. We can't be more lenient than the state. So it's the purview of the ARC to decide if they're qualified.
So I'm not qualified to make that decision.
Me neither, because I don't have a burial permit.
Does the city actually maintain a list of?
We
people?
do.
Okay,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And does it mention burial?
It says burial permit.
so how come this is the first time that we're seeing an application for?
You guys approve the burial?
I don't see, Vice Chair Pierce, I don't see that we bring this to the ARC very often. Not many people are applying for this
Okay.
permit or this recognition, certification.
But it is on the list.
Yes, it is.
One of the many letters that
It is.
filled after names. Okay. Very good.
You
That
need to
answers
go
that.
downtown.
My turn?
Yes.
Okay. A couple of questions, since we are thinking of listing you on for burials. We don't really have standards for evaluating that. Are you listed on the state? Okay.
Yes.
And then the other thing, I thought I had noted somewhere the last time you applied, but it feels like it was
It was over
January of 24.
yes, but the application was in December, obviously.
So can you talk a little bit about what you've done between then and now?
Yes, since then I had worked on a variety of projects, including writing up numerous monitoring projects or completing portions of monitoring reports that would be subject to purview here, submittal, or draft versions of which unfortunately may or may not see the light of day while I was employed at OAS. I also conducted monitoring for New Mexico Highlands University for the cemetery there. Several burial excavations, emergency burial excavations at the request of HPD, and then data recovery operations for the Pueblo of Acoma, which were between basically end of July 24 to January 25. And then as of 3 weeks ago, I started a new position and have been, some of the work there is listed under that, which is PIing a variety of projects throughout the state on different jurisdictional boundaries. In addition to those two, I've also been pretty much subcontracted on the side for most of my time at while I was still at OAS, where I worked on weekends to do pretty much extra full-time work doing ceramic analysis, writing reports, or doing additional survey for other companies.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, there weren't dates on the chart, so I had a little trouble figuring out what was new and what was old. But that's all I had. Thank you.
Number one. There are no pink flags, so somebody want to take a crack at a motion?
Yes, sure. Mr. Chair, I move that in case 10-440 ARC, we approve the listing of Dr. Thatcher Selster Rogers for the Rivers and Trails and Suburban Archaeological Museums and a burial permit for the city of San Jose.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Welcome aboard. Look forward to seeing some stuff.
2 months.
Thank you, Beth.
Already on the front row. Next case. 2025-10441. Ron Matthews, agent with Jim Sanchez, Anytime Plumbing. Applicant requests approval of an archaeological monitoring report for the installation of 130 feet of subsurface sewer line in the historic downtown archaeological review district. You wrote this one, Paul, anything to add or change?
No, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Winters is ready, has been for a while.
State your name and address for the record.
Ron Winters, 109 Calle Paula, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87505.
Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference in this to this item shall be the truth, the whole truth, and do this under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you, sir. You've been sworn, Chair.
Okay, Ron, what do we need to know in addition to what you've already submitted?
Well, I didn't find the SA kids. We're asking about at the last, when the monitoring plan was submitted. Not present in any of the work that I did on the project, and nor in the work that John Murphy did, the background cultural history, or the historic history of the property. So not really. I would say that the artifacts, there weren't many actually, and they were found throughout, but the largest concentration was in that that stratum with the burnt midden. But again, surprisingly, not many artifacts. Well, project area was fairly disturbed too. So that's it, I think.
Okay. Number one,
Ask you about this on both of these.
Okay,
They need to be in Memphis. The shape files need
Oh.
to be in Memphis.
and this one especially, I mean, as long as it goes. Like, yeah,
So did
absolutely.
you, they need to be in Memphis? or
This,
they're not
this
in
weekend.
Okay, thank you.
number Pierce.
Yeah, just one editorial comment. This is on. Where's the other? Oh, I believe it's page 49. That's a listing of your IOs. And I can't see the whole page for some reason, it doesn't want to zoom, but one of the bullet points reads, 2 nails were recorded, they measured XX by XX long. You forgot to fill in your. inches there.
They were, oh yes, page 42.
Yeah, that's all I had.
Got it.
Okay. Member Trees,
I'm good.
member Rex.
So can you describe where the trench was on your map? Because I can't tell from the
It's the
documentation.
line here with the arrow. It goes to it. Where is it? In,
Why is that red border around just that section and
that's the property boundary.
but you're working out here?
Yes, it was this family that contracted Anytime Plumbing to do the work. And they was their property and then down the
And
street.
so wouldn't you be more specific somehow in your,
Oh, I
I
look
mean,
in
it
the,
just seems to be not very specific.
in the NIAP, I think, I used that indicating.
I mean, is it I don't know, it just felt so diagrammatic to be nonsensical to me.
So what would you like?
I don't know, it's not my project. but-
No, I mean, what would you like to
Well, I just,
describe better?
the fact that this line tells me that this is the project area, but indeed your trench is over here and that's where you found the information. Or the midden,
Mhm.
and so it seems to be, it should have more description somehow.
May I offer a suggestion? Because I've had multiple comments on that very same issue. Your project area is sewer line.
Yes,
The fact that it is on 2 different parcels that may or may not be owned by 2 different people is interesting and should be explained. But the project area is the sewer line, not the
Of the
property that
parcel.
it's serving.
right.
So it would help greatly if the sewer line were red. And I note that there is some space here, maybe you could put in a caption that says lot 16A is owned by the proponents and lot 17A is owned by somebody else. And by arrangement, it's being installed there. It seems just really strange to me that we're putting a sewer line on somebody else's property.
And David, you're correct, and the same with you, Gayla. They are both owned by the same property owner.
Um,
And that, but the residents live at 601. I mean, it's 604.
And that's the structure that John Murphy,
Yes,
and that's really where that red line's coming from, right?
the plat, well, I didn't get a plat from the Anytime Plumbing. What I got was an aerial with a Sharpie, just kind of, I think you saw that in the monitoring plan. And so I used this, from John Murphy's work, that plat.
And it's confusing.
Yeah, so, I agree, and the red as the trench would have been more descriptive.
Yeah, the way that it's the only thing that stands out. One could just kind of take a quick glance at this and say, oh, they just cleared lot 16A. That's not what we're doing.
Right, yeah, but they are owned by the same owner.
That's all helpful. Anything else good? Okay. Then let me keep on a roll since I'm already way up. Every one of the maps, and they are in multiple places, that show that same thing, would be modified to emphasize the project and de-emphasize
Parcel.
the sub portion of the property that happens to be served by the project. Every one of the maps would then benefit from changing the color of the label for LA 205928 to red, so that it's clear that the project area and the site are the same thing. Because I believe you use the word artifacts throughout.
Right.
So that would clean that up tremendously. Then every one of those maps, or at least one where it says results, needs to show the feature location in the form of a dot and a label. So as it is, all we have is a description that it is near the southern end of the South Trench, and that appears on a LA form. I think somewhere else might have mentioned some feet from the end of the trench. Great, put it on the map.
Got it.
And the site form. You've got feature data, feature type, burn trash bin. There's nothing for feature ID and notes. Gee, give it a name, feature A, feature 1, whatever. Put it in there, and that will then match your maps, and everyone will know exactly what you're talking about. Because started using on site fiddles. Okay. Just want to make sure that you have the full citation. I'm bird dogging. I'm trying to figure out where the original screw up came and why.
Yeah, but I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, it's like a ugly rumor, it gets started and then just gets repeated.
So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we're not, no one is waiting. So I think I'm gonna recommend we conditionally approve this. Or with the condition that updated maps be submitted. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Ron, how much of let's just go back to identifying the property rather than the house. Well, do they own to the west and then up to the wall? There's all these old property lines.
Yeah.
And I'm since we're focusing on that, maybe, I don't know, the red should mark the whole property, or, I'm also fine with the suggestion that the red be the trench, the sewer line.
I was made that suggestion to avoid the interpretation that Member Pierce referred to. Take a quick look at a map and say, oh, they cleared that property. No,
Yeah,
It's the trench.
that was mine.
Yeah, what I can do is,
I mean, there's a heavy black line all the way around something, and I'm assuming that they have what, 15, 16A and 17A.
right, the project was
That it even matter.
for the residents at 604 and that's where I had the property history done. Not, but yes, I think I'll have to read it again with Murphy's description if he states that, because it seemed like, it passed through many hands and it changed over time also.
Yeah.
But, well, we singled out that because of, where the project started,
Right.
who it was for. But I understand, confusion if you don't, and that was probably not a good idea to use his map. But I didn't get from the client a plat,
Yeah.
It probably doesn't have.
no. I think in the monitoring plan, if you probably don't remember this, but it was an aerial and it was a Sharpie that just covered it. Line like that.
Someone else is fond of Sharpies. Let's not go down that path. We have a motion for conditional approval contingent on you fixing those things.
yeah, submission of a revised report.
Any further discussion?
Yes.
Would that be, would it come back to you or to the city?
It just was.
Okay, not a problem.
That's our usual conditional.
got it.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Stay right there. You have the next one.
I'm not on
2025-10444, Ron Winters, agent for Dave Martinez. Santa Fe Civic Housing Authority applicant requests approval of an archaeological inventory of total 4.799 acres for the proposed redevelopment of Santa Fe Country Club Apartments and suburban archaeological review district. Paul, this is your staff report. Anything to add or change?
No, Chair. Thank you.
Ron, you have the floor. What do we need to know?
Well, I was really disappointed with this project because I feel like if I don't find something, I'm not doing my job. But I'll tell you, there was not a square inch of that property that wasn't disturbed. Or had a paved, built environment, push piles in the back. I mean, it really was a lot of modern craft, but nothing that I could call historic.
Okay. Number one.
So kind of so on page 6 and 7, you've got your figures flipped because figure 2 is the plat of the project area and then figure 3 is the aerial showing the project area, but they're
It's
actually.
actually a break, a page break, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
caption that should be right below the picture wound up at the top of the next page. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, I saw that in the NIA form and I was after the fact. And so I didn't,
I believe it is only in the NIAP and not in the report. So-
okay,
No,
Did you have one in the report as well? No. Oh, I didn't see it.
okay, yeah, that,
oh wait, no, hold on. I maybe
the
like,
last 4 pages of the
Okay.
NIA.
I like,
And I'm sorry, I
It
was
just
gonna
slipped
say
off.
that,
On the
Yeah.
rail somewhere.
right,
Looks like the image of that plat, it's a little too big. Didn't
Yeah.
make room for a caption.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I probably added something and it pushed it down, so it pushed all the captions. But I didn't catch that, only until I went to print a copy out for myself, and it's like, oh geez, that is how it was submitted.
and then, your aerial is missing a north arrow, and normally north is up, but in this instance, north is not up.
Oh, got it.
So,
Figure 3,
and it's the same way on page 9, your figure 3 on.
yes.
It's in 2 places. I think that was somewhere I had a note on something that was.
Well, you can always break back it. Remember,
Not number one, so my, same thing. I don't have any.
Patrice,
I think
So on my PDF, the site plan doesn't show up. Or this plat doesn't show up, but I have it here, which is page 6, and so maybe that's. And now, then that might make all these mislabeled things make sense. I don't know.
This one?
Yeah, you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't show up on my PDF. Anyway, fine. I had it in the hard copy. I guess I question the results also. So in past, would we not do trenching or do something in that area behind where the digging has gone?
Certainly in the historic downtown,
Not out here. Okay.
no, and the disturbance was across the site. I mean, I couldn't even, you see with the photos that I took of the overviews. I mean, all you could capture was the apartments. You know, I did try and capture a little bit of the back
Yeah.
there, but it's been heavily disturbed.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Member Bechtel brings up a good question. Cause generally, Member Bechtel, you see these inventory reports where they're 2% tested. And then for this one, a little bit different, we're a class 3 cultural resources survey. So the class 3 is just a pedestrian survey, background research, the development of the land throughout time, and then walking up to see if there's any cultural sites or cultural features or artifacts, scatters, or cultural resources above ground. So then the archaeologist can then determine, well, maybe we need to do some testing. Whereas in the downtown, it's an automatic at 2,500 square feet. But you raise a good point because a lot of people some people may not understand.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. So, did you say who owned the property before it was this? The Civic Housing Authority?
No, I didn't go into.
So we don't know who owned the property or who might have lived here?
I put my efforts into when it's historic downtown property owners.
Okay.
I didn't do an extensive.
And then this aerial photograph that kind of shows this little drainage here. I mean, you know, all the drainage is kind of going that direction, and I'm just wondering more about the acequias and ditches.
Well, I always look at
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause like you said, there's nothing on the property.
Yeah.
That's all.
So one of the things I even, well, David can testify to this, we can, in theory, do 15-meter wide transects. I rarely do that, maybe on very large surveys. I mean, in the city, I'll do a meter wide or, you know, sometimes even smaller than that. Here, I could have, but I didn't even do 15 meters.
Or even like a deed research?
Well, if it warranted it, I probably would have. I mean, I didn't think, based on what I was finding, that it was gonna add to the information.
But if it's scraped clean, I don't know who lived here. I mean, I just figured that that's part of what we're asked to do is. You know, they're about to tear these buildings down, I assume, and do something else.
No. They're gonna.
They're doing grading and drainage.
They're redeveloping. That's the plan that you see here.
Yeah. Was not very legible, which is why I looked for it on the digital copy. Yeah, just shows a bunch of green back there.
Well, you have to look at the site plan as to what those different things mean.
So I guess what I'm hearing is sort of beside the point because there's no development that's planned. Who owned it before?
No, it's redevelopment of an existing property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to everybody who pointed out north arrows. Took all of my marks except one. But follow up on what Ron said in response to your question. If there's any suggestion that there might have been some historic use of the area, would trust that archaeologists would check for old maps and property. I can personally testify that just 400 meters away, there were one or more ditches of dubious origin that may or may not have been legal and may or may not have been actual acequias, but could have been taking even sewage effluent discharge and diverting it out across areas that someone was creatively farming. So there's always that potential that there's some historic land use that could show up. And so while requirement for a pedestrian survey is not exhaustive,
On page 25, it says, the grant was certainly the source of impetus or impetus for settlement of the north side of the Santa Fe River in the vicinity of the current project area. Isn't this on the south side of the river?
it is.
I'm sorry.
That's borrowed language that got propagated.
And this is, general.
Yeah.
Information, and not specific to that tract.
I remember back to what you're saying. Once this parcel gets cleared, it'll never come before the ARC on this site. So, or the contractor is notified, so then.
That's a very good point. Why is it coming to us now? Was there no archaeology done when the,
No, sir.
how old is the complex? You know, does it predate the ordinance?
I don't know, but
I don't,
I was in a development meeting over this parcel and I shared with the contractor or with the housing authority that if you're proposing on installing 550 linear feet of subsurface utilities, which I believe they may be doing, they're doing the survey in lieu of the monitoring because they believe it's more cost effective. And so with that, I believe Ron was contracted to do the survey to mitigate the monitoring, the future monitoring for the subsurface utilities.
Makes sense.
Mitigate's not the word you're looking for.
To
Obviate is the word you're looking
obviate, I don't know. All right. But that was the reason for the survey, because for the suburban, it's 2 acres in the suburban Forest City project. Yeah. It
for.
triggered.
Well, and,
Yeah.
because.
Yeah, I just want to look at this, of course.
This is out in the area where the old bigger Spanish ownership pattern, the long linear things coming off the river are still visible in modern development, and you can just see that by looking at the map. The reason this thing is cattywampus to the world is because that's the Spanish ownership.
The long lot, make sure everybody got a
Yeah.
piece of the river.
There's a 15-foot ditch easement that runs straight across. What that is? What kind of ditch is that?
what page are you referring to?
It's on the site plan. It's on page 8 on the plat. It says ditch easement, 15-foot interline 15-foot ditch easement.
Boy,
Um,
good eyes.
well, I
Can
had
you
to blow it
describe
up.
where it is?
Goes across the.
Low cross
Right across
at the middle.
Yeah,
Well, it makes sense that it goes across the middle because.
and that's
Covered up easier that way.
That would then link up with the slight indications of which
Of
are on the adjacent.
That you can have it on the area.
And would match up with some of those pitches that I was referring to.
And
that are of
the
dubious
sewer
connection
ditches, yeah,
To legality.
yeah, anyway, I mean, I just. It seems, there's more to be had there, but, I hear you, it's,
It wasn't visible on the surface, so I can tell you that.
Aerial photos have tantalizing things. You see ditch easement on plat, looking upstream. is always a
or
good idea.
downstream,
In
yeah.
this case, looking downstream, because I mapped those ditches. That field is
I mean,
1/3 of the property I looked at, and the ditch runs all the way across it, and that whole field was terraced. It was being farmed actively.
the ditch starts maybe where Rick Martinez talked about.
Somewhere back upstream.
Maybe.
But in terms of actual testing on such a parcel,
I
it
get it.
wouldn't happen, but in the instance where a known site had been documented, let's say, on a parcel, the city is now looking very closely at places where known sites are documented, and that would kick in a different level of scrutiny. And it is entirely possible that might find a situation where we would dictate thou shalt do some trenching to test for the presence of archaeology.
I would just love to have the ditch easement mapped with the ditches that are known. That are from here up to the river. I mean, that's why we lose our stuff in the city of Santa Fe. That's why the easement disappeared off that plat. That's why no one bothers. That's why if you don't follow the rules, it doesn't matter here because we don't follow what we have. And so I'd like to see some explanation of the ditches that have started up in the mountains and ended up in the airport road.
You need to get David Snow's 88 report.
I have it.
And you don't,
And it's so out of date. We're updating it now, but my point is, on your own plat, it says ditch easement. Please describe what that ditch easement is for.
it could be utilities. I have no idea.
But I don't either.
Yeah.
I'm not the archaeologist nor the researcher.
So this is a new plat with drawing 24. It's not like they recycled the old one. So yeah, why are they continuing to present the ditch easement if in fact they have avoided that easement by destroying the.
Whatever it was that was there. I mean,
If the stake is gone, then the easement is meaningless.
it would say it was a drainage easement if it was only for drainage, but it specifically says ditch.
Can't be for drainage, the way the site is laid out. Can't drain right.
Can't drain across it, yeah.
It's
Propagating that line onto the following page, aerial, it goes right to the ditch on the adjacent property that I'm referring to. So it was a continuation, and
I would just like more explanation about the ditch.
Well, what they've done, this plat is very cleverly provide evidence of past crimes. A little bit of a
And I mean, in that,
wrong word, but
I mean,
yeah.
and so that's what we accept now in the city of Santa Fe is just write it down. Let us know that it was there. You can still bulldoze it.
Well, I don't know about that, but if it used to be there once and was destroyed by this development, it would have been nice to know that.
and to know where it comes from and where it goes.
And where it went.
Yeah, there's only one side visible, right? Just a little bit of it between roads.
Yep.
Yeah.
Since it wasn't a named ditch and couldn't be
They didn't say the name.
no. I was standing on the part that's downstream. Not named, not documented, other than by what mapping we did and description, and it was not deemed something
Where
necessary
was
to
it?
protect.
To Rick Martinez's point, they renamed the Acequia de Arroyo. Right,
Because Arroyo is, this is a loaded word. You don't have to protect an Arroyo.
Yeah, that's true.
well, I don't know, I mean, I don't assign motive. I would just like to see it. Like, where'd it go? Where'd it come from? Why is it there?
Well, it's certainly not evident on the aerial. I mean, it wasn't evident on the ground.
Ironic that it's on the plat, isn't it? That I didn't even see on my digital copy.
Go back to the 1951 aerial photo, you can see this whole thing. Numerous intersections of other ditches and numerous places where it looks like people are pulling water out of it to irrigate fields. But since it's not named ditch, it wasn't, I guess, on the radar of ditch association, et cetera. It's a casual field ditch. I just think it was somebody saying, hey, we've all this water running down here and it's just wastewater, I'm going to use it. And they did.
Well, but we don't know, do we? We're just guessing.
Well, that's often where we find ourselves whenever we're
So maybe,
trying to clear a parcel that should have been cleared 15 years ago when the
Yeah.
original development happened. I mean, we see that again and again and again and
Yeah.
again, so.
or maybe overlaying it with Snow's maps to see if it's anywhere close by, or I don't know, I'm not the.
Well, you look to the north, the 31827 was documented, the ditch 37. You know, so it was obviously visible and documented.
On the drawing, that's the colored site plan. That same alignment is called out as an easement, but my eyes are not allowing me to read what it says about it. It's labeled number 7.
Oh, yeah. What does it say over there? This one, number 7. That's just the gross unit building, it must be the natural there.
Old tech.
Site plan.
It says
you know.
existing easement.
There you go.
Yeehaw, that's informative. Existing, but obliterated.
You know, that could be part of the city's study of the acequias is verifying which ones have easements that don't make sense anymore because the acequia is going, clearing out some of these.
I think that's big here downtown. Laterals.
Well,
Any other thoughts on the Segies?
I mean, it's not really. What Ron was hired to do was to look to see what there was there on that property, not to look necessarily.
No, what
around
Ron,
it.
well, what I understand Ron was hired to do was to convince us that there's nothing there, so then when they start trenching, they don't have to get an archaeological clearance permit.
Why do you assume it's an acequia though?
It says ditch on it.
But it doesn't later, I mean, it just says easement. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not visible on this.
That's exactly Kayla's point. It was an acequia and then it became a ditch easement and then
And
it
now
became
it's
an
an
easement
easement.
and now it's just a line on
It's
the map
nothing.
that we're trying to figure out whether we need to care about. And I personally care about it. I would love to know what it connected to upstream and downstream.
I mean,
How far back would any realistic map be for that? I mean,
the fact that
what
it's
was this development done?
I think a 51 aerial would
Probably.
do good.
Yeah.
And because the airport corridor wasn't really established until the 70s, 60s. So if you were 51, 39, that would give you a good idea of what was taking place there.
the fact that it's on a plat
Yeah.
means that somewhere back in the county clerk's office, there's a description of a ditch easement and why that is a ditch is easement.
Yeah.
Somewhere back in there.
Which is a lovely prompt to look. So I guess what I'm trying to nudge us toward is there something that we expect Ron to do to augment his report to address any of this? Or are we looking at this as a broader issue that needs to be addressed by the city and not hang our hat on Ron's report? Because we need to somehow circle wagons and come to closure here.
I think the latter, because Ron is surveying a parcel that is now desolate as the moon. I mean, it has been completely regraded and redesigned, and everything about whatever that line was is gone. While it is a problem, I don't know that it's Ron Renner's problem.
Did this used to be a trailer park? Was it a country club trailer park and then it was converted to apartments at some point? I mean, there,
Behind there, the country club.
That's this
Behind her.
circular thing.
Circular.
oh, okay,
I mean, it might have been a part of it, but.
because I remember looking at something there when I was a kid.
But I
Yeah,
would,
trailer park.
yeah, I would request that there's some cursory look at what that easement is for and what was it about and when did it come about? And what did it signify?
That's should be in the courthouse, right? That should be in the clerk's
Except you-
office for.
Except you can't access. Do your own research, you know.
You can.
Well, you
reserve
can't
the
access it
computer.
the same way we used to, but you can find a lot of stuff online, so.
And you can reserve those computers in the lobby.
I know it was much more helpful. You can't talk to your computer and say, yeah, but I can't find that piece of paper that I need. You know, and that's what you can't do at the clerk's office anymore.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, maybe just some more investigation at the clerk's office to see what was there.
The fact that-
And looking at the old aerial photos, ones that are clear enough.
Yes, sir. If you get on our city website, you can pull up with the aerials from 39, 50, 65. You can, there's some dates there that will show you the general layout of the land and
Yeah.
what structures were where. And then in USGS topo map, look at some of those.
Yeah.
It'd be particularly relevant to find something that's right after passage of the ordinance, right? Because if it happened in the 60s and 50s, well, of course they displayed it, but they had no reason not to.
Right. I don't know when those apartments were built there, but I imagine 60s, 70s.
Well, like I said, when I was a young kid, it was a trailer park. All of it was a trailer park. And I looked at something down there in the 80s.
Well, the other question I always have is when this original development took place, was this even city benefit? Or has it been next after that?
Oh, it may have been annexed.
So
So it
the
wouldn't have
housing
been,
authority should be in possession of all the information about title from beginning to end. Even if you can't find anything in the county, you know, be able to sit with those folks and look at documents.
I can, Chair Eck, I worked on the annexation, on this county side, and all of those documents are now here at the city, and we have access to those records.
So Ron, if I can send you those, I'll take a look and see what I got.
Taxation. That's what you're
Anything that,
Yeah.
that may support your review.
So can we formulate a motion that incorporates some expectations so that there will be a clear directive for what to do and how much?
I would like to see a more complete application based on historical research with the easements and the plats and land ownership and aerial photographs provided as a part of the record for this project.
Is it within our jurisdiction to say we want a more thorough, research of the property? And that's what we would make a motion for, and then Ron could unfortunately do that again. Or fortunately.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know how to do that, but Mr. Pierce is really.
I'll take a stab at it, but do we want to postpone consideration of this case and have him resubmit it with the additional info? Or simply conditionally approve it with the understanding that he'll submit that additional info to Paul in the city?
What I guess what I'm wondering is, do we have the power to direct the city housing authority to say, no, we want a more complete survey done, rather than the just walking through survey that he did, so that he can do more background research? That's what I'm asking.
Well, okay, let's look at it this way. Cultural properties are entirely our purview. We have a cultural property, an unidentified, undocumented ditch indicated on the plat and the project development plan. We need the survey to address that cultural property.
Okay. So I kind of think that we would want to postpone consideration in this case.
I think that's best to give him plenty of time to do the bird dogging, because if he has to get the camp out of the county, congratulations.
And we'll share with you, Ron, all of the information we have.
That'd be great.
Do we want to do this to the next meeting? I know we need a date.
Unless, the applicant wishes to withdraw until you are, ready to, move forward.
No, I can.
It's whatever's best for you.
Okay, let me get you that date number, Pierce.
Yeah, I believe it's the 26th.
26th of June? Okay, then, in case, 10/4/41. Anytime, for installation of 130. No, I'm the wrong one. Where am I at?
10/4/44.
There, thank you, 10/44. Archaeological inventory report for the Santa Fe Country Club Apartments. I move that we postpone consideration of the case to the next meeting of June 26th.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Case number 2025-10438. Bar Engineering Company, agent from Mosen Design Group, applicant requests approval of a monitoring plan for the proposed construction of a new terminal at the Santa Fe Regional Airport in the suburban archaeological review district. Paul, you wrote the staff report. You have some notes here. Anything to add to that?
No, Chair Eck. Thank you.
We have Mr. Lant present.
Yes. Mr. Lance, you may unmute yourself.
Hello all.
Hi, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you please raise your right hand, state your name and address for the record?
Matthew Lant, 320 Osuna Road, Northeast in Albuquerque, 87107.
Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you will give in regards to this item is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and do this under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you, Chair. It's been sworn.
Welcome, Matt. You have the floor. Is there anything you need to add?
No, I don't believe so, Chair and community members. I appreciate your time and look forward to your feedback.
All right. Member Beckman.
Is it just the parking lot that is under construction? It's not so clear what's actually.
They're actually putting in a small building next to that corner of the parking lot.
So it's that L-shaped boot-shaped parcel. Okay. Yeah, the drawings weren't, they're pretty low res.
Yeah, I agree. We'll get some better report-sized engineered drawings from Mosen.
Having said that, and following up, can I ask if the staff recommendations have already been communicated to you, Mr. Lang?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you're already asked to revise certain things and you add more explanation and more specification. So will you be able to do all that by the next meeting?
Oh, my apologies, Chair. Maybe I misheard you. What other changes need to be made?
Okay, hold there. Staff.
Chair, members of the committee, I was not able to get Mr. Lamp the comments that I have on the staff report. So he hasn't, unless he's seen the staff report and pulled it up from our website, he hasn't seen that. So this is new for him.
Okay, so Mr. Lamb, just so you know, staff recommendations. Staff has reviewed the applicant's submittal documents and requests some additional information, including: 1, need revised construction plans that are legible, identifying all the utilities being installed, location, type of utility, and depth. 2, how is the infrastructure being installed? Mechanical means of backhoe or boring or some other method. 3, need more information in the project specifications section concerning the type of utility, locations, depth, and total length of subsurface utility line being installed. Given the additional information, staff would recommend conditional approval. But Member Bechtel has already further inquired and asking for more information, which led me to interject with: would you be able to have any and all additional information we might ask you for ready by the next meeting?
Yes, I'm positive we can.
Bearing in mind the submission is only 2 weeks away, right?
Yes.
Yes, submittal date
June
is
10th.
the 10th of June.
Yeah, if we can get those full comments sent to us, this is our top priority for them. So yes.
Okay. Then we will proceed. Anything else? Number 3.
Yeah. Aside from, you can't read these maps because they're too low, or these plans because they're too low resolution. I don't have enough maps to see exactly how I'm oriented at the airport. I don't, this, 1 mile overview doesn't, no, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
detailed enough of that, and doesn't show, I need more. Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
I just,
Street name?
it's not, I don't understand it from a construction standpoint. Personally, if I was given this to go out and do something, I go, what am I doing? So, and given that the engineer drawings don't tell me either, I'm lost. I might not even know where I'm going as a result of the lack of maps. So that's my 2 cents worth. I think I want closer maps or better, so I don't have to go to Google Maps and look to see where I am at the airport.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
Actually.
So I think I'm supposed to be in the report.
I think member Chase's concerns would be addressed by the clarification of the drawings called for by staff. If we had legible versions of the drawings submitted, it may very well be sufficient. However, they are so illegible as to be filler. Anything else?
No, I can't really, I didn't have any punctuation of spelling, misspellings.
Member Pearce.
Yeah, I have a couple of sort of larger picture comments. First of all, I mean, this is on the airport, so are we certain that the FAA does not have jurisdiction or some other federal agency?
Chair Act, members of the committee, I am working with Heather and Tom Graham on this project with the city. And that's a great question. From our understanding that this is city. This is a city ran project.
Municipal airport, so.
Municipal
Yeah, maybe.
airport, but they need to meet the FDA regulations. And the company, I believe, is out of Tampa, Florida, that is designing this. So everything with the archaeology and was all new for them. This is the first time they're working out here. And they're trying to meet the FDA regulations for the airport as well as the city guidelines to pull the construction permit. And so after reviewing their plan set, it came to the determination when I was talking to their architect that they exceeded the utility lines, the ground disturbance for utility lines. And they have maybe 4 utility lines they're proposing on installing, if not more. And so it didn't meet the ground disturbance, but the subsurface disturbance. So then we asked that they get a contractor, and I sent them an emergency, or not an emergency, an approval for their plan set to pull construction permit once a monitoring plan was it was approved. And that way Bar Engineering can come in, do the monitoring for the grading and drainage permit. It would meet that need. So they're not doing anything else outside of what anybody else would do. And so given that, Bar Engineering came in, and whatever drawings the architect has submitted to them and reviewing their plan, we just needed a little more information. It just wasn't clear enough. But I do believe they meet the FDA, and Mr. Graham from the city is reviewing that on the, I think it's a CIP project. And so he's got review of this project, which I believe is, Dan, could you help me with the CIP? What is that? City, or Gary, do you know the definition for the?
Capital improvements project?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you. You're welcome to work with the city. That's right.
Yeah, you get it right. Yeah.
This is like, we need to get this out. So I'm sure Matt and his staff will get this revisions that we need.
Well, there's certainly no harm in us rendering our opinion, but just they should be aware that we may not be the only body that they have to deal with.
That's
They
good.
have to, it has to go to state, so right in here, it has to go to state.
And the city, the airport is a landmark structure. So we talked
Right.
with the Historic Districts Review Board to see if they needed to review and approve any kind of construction that they're taking place.
Well, that sort of segues into my other comment, which is reading through this whole document, I had a hard time determining whether you're gonna be monitoring just the utility line or the entire, whatever this project area is on figure 3, because that sure doesn't look like a utility line. It looks like a parking lot or a new building or something. So what are we monitoring with this monitoring plan?
Well, it is that what looks like a parking lot, I'd call an apron, and the construction of the building in the corner of the L that is that apron.
Okay. And the, presumably that utility line that's mentioned in the description fits somewhere within that purple project area?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have for now. Thank you. Number one.
So, in your introduction and project description, you say the project involves potential demolition work on a landmark structure. And then that's kind of it. So, just potential demolition on a landmark structure doesn't really get you anywhere. That's
What page is that?
page 1.
No.
No, that's fair. Absolutely fair to call that typo out. It should be near. The actual airport is a historical site, but it's the runways, and we're not anywhere near the actual runways.
4.
Okay, because you.
Yep, terrible typo. Good catch.
The proposed construction is underneath an airport taxiway. Is that correct?
It's near a taxiway. I mean, that taxiway is actually between, I think, the runways and the L that is our apron.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say right now that I would recommend you withdraw this because this is not understandable of what you're doing or where you're going or whether you're damaging landmarks or what is going on. And your project specifications is 1 paragraph.
i.e. deemed to be insufficient by member wants. Let me chime in here. Anytime you're doing anything that has the potential to have an effect on such a thing as a landmark, it behooves you to document in detail what the landmark is, where it is, how far it reaches, what is the buffer zone around it, what are its characteristics that make it significant, how it will or will not be affected by what is being proposed, and illustrate very clearly in maps and in text what steps are being taken to make sure that there are no effects on said landmark property, i.e. we need a lot more documentation. That's just step 1. And you've heard a personal recommendation that you withdraw it and resubmit. That may be what you wish to do, but that's your call. We will proceed with commentary. Number 1.
You should also mention who's funding this. Funding is important.
Funding is key. Because it doesn't matter if it's on city property, if there's $1 of federal money, it's a whole different ballgame. So you gotta know that. Anything else?
I need to know really what is happening here and have it clearly laid out because some limited aircraft taxiway paving, a paved parking lot, sidewalls and fences. This is not an adequate project description.
That's
Okay.
it. Okay. I have some specifics. And you've already heard much of what I wanted to say, said by others. I want to start focusing on details your page 11, discussion of soils. The data presented in table 1 are interesting. On a quick look in documentation I have access to, I could not find that information associated with the NRCS web soil survey. Has there been a site-specific, project-specific soil study and engineering study conducted?
Not that I'm aware of. We pulled that information off the NRCS's webpage.
Okay. Their webpage is notoriously hinky, so I just may have been fenced out of seeing this actual information. But I would strongly encourage you on this, when you fix it, and on all future submittals, that when you discuss soils, discuss an area, not a postage stamp. The proper scale for discussing soils using NRCS data is way bigger than what you've presented. They only back the information to a certain map scale. And so I think if you zoomed out about a factor of 10, you might start approaching the possibility of learning something about soils in the area, because you've essentially learned nothing from what has been done. Engineers will want to do some soil sampling anyhow, so maybe they could do it sooner rather than later.
I appreciate that, Chair. I think the intent of the narrow focus was to ensure that the monitoring plan and the monitors knew what kind of sediments to look for. And so the goal was to, I understand what you're saying about the scale of the NRCS's data, and I appreciate your comment. I will try to do better balancing the macro level with the micro level needs of the project.
Because my main concern is that every soil unit mapped by the NRCS includes subsets of undefined extent of 1 to 12 other soils that could be present. And therefore, if you don't look at what's adjacent, you have no idea what might actually be there until you look. So that's important. Page 25, the monitoring plan. Great. The monitoring requirements of the city kicked in, and you have to monitor. Every archaeologist I know, seeing this piece of country, seeing that a lot of it is vegetated dirt. Survey first, please. And then proceed accordingly. Because if you observe something surveying, we are no longer in an easy monitoring situation. So look first before you leave.
And there are multiple pre-Columbian sites right around there that are still.
Number one, which is to offer the observation that there are multiple pre-Columbian sites in the area and could very well be represented by similar deposits within your project area. So it's important to know before you start rather than after. I'll move on to paragraph 5.2, monitoring methods. 2, 3. Fourth sentence, beginning with trench walls and mechanically bladed surfaces will be periodically inspected for evidence of structures. Do you mean to say that you're going to watch the trench go in and then you'll come back an hour later and look again? Is that what periodic inspection is intended to convey?
No, not at all. We expect to have monitors there the entire time during construction.
Okay, you use the word monitors several times, and the letter S disturbs me. As far as I know, you are the only person associated with this project who is actually listed to work on city of Santa Fe jurisdiction. Is that true?
Yes.
Therefore, you personally.
So it'd be
will
me. Yes.
Not somebody else. If you got somebody helping you, great, but you have to be there. All right. Moving on. Second to the last sentence. On a regular basis, scaled profile drawings will be produced. Does that mean always? Because a regular basis has a loose time definition. I'm just indicating that you should always make scale profile drawings. And you should do so in each trench in at least one location. And if there's any complexity within each trench, you will make profiles in more than one location to show that complexity. Paragraph 5.3. Fourth sentence starts with discoveries. It is not acceptable that discoveries may be protected. Discoveries shall be protected. By stopping excavation at the discovery, and will, not may, will include measures such as moving excavation work some distance away from the discovery. I like the 100-foot figure. I would just like to see that rephrased so that it says it will happen. If possible, the full extent of any cultural deposits will be exposed before the discovery is evaluated for next steps. No, they're going to stop and notify when it happens. And under the direction of city staff and perhaps others, you will be given guidance as to what more to do before there is a next step defined. Your discussion of discoveries, your question matrix, as it were. My gut says, no, this is not adequate. The thinking is not comprehensive. The thinking is rather linear and narrow and does not take into account that which you do not yet know. So I think your whole protocol of discovery decision-making needs to be reworked. Section 5.4. Deposits of unknown origin. Yikes. Let's hope you can define them as features of some sort with some temporal component associated. Disturbed materials, I get it. But sometimes the only materials you have are what has been disturbed in the back dirt of your project. So they therefore do not lack additional information potential. Again, I don't think the language is very comprehensive. I won't get into the weeds on the rest of it because I certainly can guarantee you that the reviewers at the State Historic Preservation Office will get into the weeds on all of that. Your last paragraph, page 31. it mentions that somebody on the SHPO directory will be overseeing the project. You should also include language to the effect that somebody approved to operate within the jurisdiction of the city of Santa Fe will be present at all times. It's just worth putting in there. Because I know that managers tend to read first paragraphs and last paragraphs, and unless you state it clearly, you sometimes haven't stated anything. And the last thing, it's my nitpick of the day, page 36, in your references cited, the reference to pills lacks the full title. This leads me to question whether you actually saw the thing. And we all do it. But please verify the title, and while you're at it, take a look at it and see if your synopsis thereof is complete and accurate. That is all. With that said, I would seek to know whether you wish us to make long motions full of all kinds of caveats, or whether you wish to just withdraw this and bring it back the next time after having allowed city staff to usher you through the process of fixing it.
I appreciate your time, Chair, and all your comments. I think it's probably best to work with the city staff and withdraw the application right now.
Thank you. We will indicate that this item has been withdrawn, and we will look forward to presentation after staff has had a chance to lend a hand.
Matt, this is Paul. Let's plan on getting together next week. Let's say Wednesday, and we can go through this project together. I'll send you an invite if you're available. If not next week, we can get together soon.
Nope, next week's perfect. Let's do it, Paul. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
And I,
Thank you.
Chair, if I have one comment
Okay.
I'd like to make is I'm reminded that this area that where the airport is actively used by our local Pueblo population. I mean, this area, especially the Caja del Rio, and this is part of that area. So this is on the edge of a drainage, and so I would love to see some kind of acknowledgement also of the use of this property other than the airport and what we modernly use it as. So.
Good point.
Yeah.
Items to include in your culture, history of land use, a discussion of prehistoric land use is always useful. Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, sir. Case number 2025-104442. SWCA, Agent for Public Service Company of New Mexico, PNM, applicant requests approval of an archaeological monitoring report for 625 feet of subsurface electrical service line at 2128 Old Arroyo Chamizo Road in the Suburban Archaeological Review District. Your staff report, Paul, anything to add to it?
No, Chair. Thank you.
All right. We have a presenter here. Let this come forward, be identified and sworn in.
Please raise your right hand or state your name and address for the record.
Robin Cordero, 2101 Northeast Street, Northeast, Albuquerque, 87112.
Great, thank you, Robin. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item shall be the truth, nothing but the truth, and do this under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. It's been sworn chair.
What do we need to know?
The line has gone in and it has been constructed. Chapters 2 through 5 have been previously reviewed by the committee as part of our monitoring plan. there are any typos that carried over, I apologize.
Okay. Member Beck?
On page 8 of 13, which I guess is in the abstract form, it mentions the Santa Fe Rail Yard testing results. I don't know if that's,
That must be a typo from the other report that
and then,
on the
page
NIAC.
10, page 10 is our,
It's on the NIAC.
Well, there could have been some observation that was relevant, so a citation to that might not be a surprise, but double check.
well.
Oh, there it is. Bill.
And then this similarly on page 11, it talks about, the 920 Shoefly Street with the pull boxes, that's also in the rail yard.
Wrong, that's something out of the wrong, report. My apologies. Yep. The page 10 on the,
Let's see. 11,
oh, page
11,
11. Okay,
yeah.
So first paragraph of your
Yeah.
summary.
yep. Sorry, we were juggling multiple P and M projects.
Yeah, I remember that one, yeah.
He's got a whole spreadsheet.
Yeah, and then I guess I was, confused still about how this map on page 3 or 42 relates to 43. But then later I answered one of the questions, I think. It showed up again.
For his clarification, I'm not sure he's seeing page 43.
Yeah, we have
He
chapter
has it.
page.
You got it? Okay. Oh.
Well, yeah, chapter, yeah.
So
I'm looking
where
at
is
the
this, that, I guess, I'm just trying to just make it make sense in my head, which is, I always get in trouble, obviously.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
Cause it shows up here, this one relates to that one, the 88, 99 plat. Shows up, so I do see where you just didn't show me the little L. Maybe that's what you need, is just and it might be so tiny that even if you put it there, it wouldn't. So
Just
show,
be a dot.
right, yeah,
Might just have that.
it may be there. Well, I mean, it's
They're on figure 14.
clear here, yeah, yeah. And I do think I got confused, about why the way that you talk, and this is, this is non-archaeology, question is the cobbles within the stratum were calcium carbonate. And so that's when you stopped trenching. So is that like a bedrock of some kind of thing?
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty old material. That's
Okay.
down there with when you have this level of calcium carbonate formation encrusting the rocks and stuff, yeah.
And is it volcanic or is it?
No, it's a function of water percolating through and minerals collecting down.
Sort of
Yeah.
sitting there, okay, yeah, I was curious, it's like, you stopped when you got there.
Yeah.
You see. Okay, that's all, those are my comments.
Thank you. Member Trees.
You have lots of maps, which I like. They're also, our site is really small. And so, once again, I have to pull up Google Maps and I don't want to do that. But, that's just me. Maybe that's legal if the archaeology world doesn't help
Yeah.
I really like
in
the one
reference
where
to-
the blow up is, that shows the whole excavation. There's
Yes.
one map that shows that road.
In terms of-
excavation really well.
Figure 1.3, are you saying this one you would like it at a higher resolution? or-
Yeah, closer down, yeah.
Okay,
Probably instead of 30,000 feet, maybe 1,000 feet.
I think that's a function
500.
of the mapping requirement that,
See, and I don't know that.
yeah, we try to put it at that same scale.
Yeah.
But I do see what you mean, on a smaller scale project like this,
Yeah,
you lose it.
yeah.
It was helpful to Google it.
Jump in.
I agree with that. I
Figure one
remember
point
that.
one is where you are in the universe. Figure 1.2 is the required map at 1/24,000 scale, USGS background. Satisfy the archaeological requirements. Then the photograph right next to it is exactly the same scale.
Because we could do better, let's find a resolution, yes.
Where I get lost is when we go to the design plan. P and M design plans, like the little line. Yeah. I don't know if there's a way to fix that, but it just sort of loses something along the way. So. Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah,
but
so, okay, so, in the pictures, figure 6.6, and you're saying, note feature 1. And because I'm a construction guy, I'm wondering what feature 1 is it that black tiles lettering?
So feature,
Line, or what am I looking at?
you're talking about figure
6.6.
6.6?
Yeah,
Yeah, feature 1 is the drainage that we identified, so it's on the left-hand side.
is that
It's the
this
dotted
right there?
line area.
Or it's this?
It's the dotted line area, yeah, that
Okay.
kind of cuts through.
I see, okay, so it's like a, yeah, a curve, okay, parabola,
so a label that said feature 1 would
yeah,
answer his question.
yeah, it says feature 1, but I,
No, on the figure.
oh,
As
yeah,
opposed to the caption.
Right, the caption says on the left hand
Yes.
side.
yeah, no, but I don't know what I'm looking at, you know? I don't
And
know
if I
whether
was
the
part of
dotted
that, I
line,
would not know either.
yeah, once again, it's not a piece of wood, so what do I know?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the only place that showed up?
Yes, it was only in this one section of the trench.
Uh-huh. Does the trench change direction after that, or I guess?
So
I
this
don't know
was-
really which one.
This was on the east-west trench that ran along the south side of the property boundary. And it was about midway through the trench,
Uh-huh.
distance-wise.
So there is the potential that there's another end
Of the trench,
of the feature.
of the feature, yes.
So. Follow up then, is there somewhere, because the feature is 8 meters wide and is it included as drainage?
Yeah, in my notes, yes, it may not be in here.
I didn't
Yes.
notice it.
Okay. Better description, got it.
Which I guess for me begs the question about 1950s map that might show drainage or something, surface drainage of this area.
We did review all of the available historic maps. There was no drainage present here, and if you look this drainage is actually fairly well buried by that stratum 1B. And so this is probably a much older drainage that would show up on a lot of our USGS maps.
We're talking thousands of years ago. Maybe tens of thousands.
Which is why you define it as a environmental feature and not a cultural one.
Exactly,
Okay.
yes.
Now, if there'd been a mastodon tusk sticking out of it.
You feel cool?
It would be cool.
Anything else?
No, that would be it.
Okay. Member Pierce?
No, the only question I have is the one we just covered.
Okay. Member Watt?
Yep, it covers everything.
Okay, leave it up to Mr. Pedantic. Since you seem to have the same document we do with the bold page numbers lower right,
I do not have the
Okay.
full page numbers in the.
then I will use your page number.
Yes, thank you.
Page 3 of 13. An investigation abstract form. Last paragraph of the description. And I apologize if it happens anywhere else, that you can search for it, but this is the first time I noticed. The last sentence spells Santal, or Sante. And that gets propagated here and yonder, all over the place through this document. So let's do a little blanket search and destroy mission.
Okay.
Oh, that's amusing.
And Member Pierce already noticed this and poked me in the ribs to say you had done it. You got a full citation for Wayne B. Phil's complete with the initial.
Congratulations.
Twice. Once in the NIAP and once in the document.
Thank you.
See, I know he actually looked at that.
I did look at that because I remember that report from many years ago when a certain member Wands and I had to survey along that line.
So there was a difference. Her and her. Okay, page 5.1. Survey results. The last couple of sentences. Areas of disturbance occur along the last 200 feet. Okay, 200 feet, I can envision that. Wouldn't hurt to have it on a map someplace. And then the mention of these fence corrals and outbuilding and a fence depression, I realize those are probably outside your survey area. But you could probably indicate them on said map to show that what you're doing is kind of running in the space in between and does not necessarily involve those things. I really harped on the depiction of feature 1. Oh, the last flag was to make sure I didn't fail to give you kudos on Wayne Phil's citation. That's it.
Mr. Chair, in case 10, where are we? 442. 442, yeah. SWCA, agent for PNM. Archaeological monitoring report for 620 feet at 2128 Old Royal Chinito Road. I move that we approve this case with the requested corrections to the text.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Case number 10443. SWCA, agent for Dominion due diligence applicant. Request approval of a class 3 coastal resources survey report of 5.14 acres for the proposed development at 3471 Cerrillos Road in the suburban archaeological review district. Thank you for the staff report, Paul. Anything you need to add?
No, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, Robin, you're.
I would like to point out that this was incorrectly added as an item. This should have gone in as an administrative matter
Thank
because
you.
of the Section 106 project.
Okay.
So
That was my one and only comment is, are you sure this is a city project? Yes. If not, there's HUD money.
it was supposed to have been submitted as an administrative item.
So I would move that we remove this case from new business
Move it down to.
to administrative matters and communication.
So
Second.
noted.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Hey.
Aye. It is moved. All right. So now that we're in administrative matters and Jeff, do you have any introductory remarks for this section? No, okay,
Thank you.
then go for it.
This property or this project has gone through SHPO, initial review. SHPO had identified that, had required us to go do a survey of the open space, which is what we have done. And then we did an archival review for the rest of the property, since it is still a fully functional, trailer park. So that's what we've done. Open to questions, comments. Yes.
Needs to change the lead agency
Hmm?
on the NIA.
What is?
It is kind of bad.
What was the comment?
Oh, that he needs to change the lead agency on the NIA to change it to HUD.
Yes.
Is it
Is
currently
it
the
that-
City of Santa Fe Historic Preservation Division?
I was wondering about that.
When this was originally proposed, the HUD funding had not been secured. And so I was originally going to push this through under as new business. And the funding was then secured. And so, sorry, it did not get reflected on the NIA.
Politicians want securing funding.
Hey. Very time. In the nick of time.
Yes.
Anything?
That was it.
Member Pierce? Nope. Member Trees?
I was looking at Google Maps.
Sorry, Tom.
And the road that goes by the church. On page, let's see what page it is. The last page, the colored, overhead that you have.
On the left.
Yeah, that shows the.
Oh.
Experience.
Yes.
That road, I think, is, on Google Maps listed as San Isidro Crossing, not Calle de Sais. Calle de Sais, I think, because my barber lives over on Calle de Sais, is just that little bit that's between Rufina and Sirius Road. Not the part that's above Rufina that goes to the river. That's what Google Maps said.
All I can say is this is what we pulled off directly from NIMCRIS.
Yeah.
So if it
Take it up with them. Huh?
take it up with them, yeah.
Yeah. But then I'll just have my barber.
I agree. File a grievance.
All right, fine, then her name. Her name is actually Size, so that's her road.
And she should.
Seriously though, I do wanna pull it back and have one comment that I did before, but now I lost the page. It was your 4 aerial photographs all squeezed onto one page. I don't like it. Maybe in the future, do 4 separate pages. This is a 4-5.
I know exactly which ones you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the resolution's 4 to begin with, and when you crunch it down to a quarter of a page, you can't see the details that add the value of having it in the first place.
That was my comment.
Okay.
I mean, well, I was just, it looks distorted. Something's wrong about that page.
Well, I have an explanation that I'm working on.
Okay,
Anything else?
no, that was pretty much it.
I detest oblique view aerial photos when they're trying to convey data important in interpretation. The shifting from 90 degrees introduces all kinds of variable that you don't want. So please don't do that. That's why it's distorted. It's not looking straight down, it's looking this way in some degree. Oblique aerial photos are great for depicting historical events like the big top that must have stood outside the federal building during the fabled fibbing on how many years Santa Fe had been in operation. Over here in
1883 tertiary millennial.
An oblique aerial photo would be wonderful if such a thing existed, but I don't think the Montgolfier brothers have yet run a hot air balloon. I don't know. Anyhow. Number one, talk about fixing the lead agency. And both in the NIAF and in the report, there's the standard requirement that if something is encountered during construction, all work should cease and somebody should be notified. SHPO, yeah, because they have the ultimate jurisdiction. I think I know you, you'll tell him to.
Yes.
Because he'll be curious and he'll want to go look at it.
Are you saying that gossip? But yes, would you like me to add that in as a part of the notification?
I think it never hurts to say that you're gonna notify all jurisdictions. Some have hierarchy and predominance, but yeah. It'd be nice.
Yeah. I can add that in.
Pardon me. So we will now move on to item A of administrative matters and communications. And the Q&A. Paul has submitted that three and we're passing them on paper. Great.
Yeah.
You wanna set the stage? Or you just gonna?
Oh, sure. I haven't reviewed Robin's. So, Robin, please share with the ARC members.
Yeah, so, so for this 2-month, progress report, this is picking up where we left off when we had identified the very top of a very unusual feature. And we also had left the lower portion of the middle officers' quarters. Everything else had been excavated at the time of the last progress report. So, in the middle officers' quarters, what we ended up doing was excavated a series of trenches through some of the rooms, mechanical trenching. The southern 2 rooms had already been excavated, one of them, or at least sampled, one of them by OAS, as it turns out, and then the other one by SWCA. What we found in the northern rooms was that, similar to the southern rooms, much of the fill was redeposited. A lot of it appeared to be mixed construction fill from the demolition of the building. And then, as with the other areas of surrounding the middle officers' quarters, the landform had been truncated, and that was very readily apparent when we were excavating through the fill of the north quarters, or the middle residence, the northern rooms in the middle residence. What was unusual was when we excavated the northeasternmost room, what we thought might be the kitchen turned out to be the remains of essentially the brick chimney that had been dumped into the room. And when we cleared that out, we encountered the lovely poured concrete basement floor. This was a new construction. Based on what we found in here, it was fairly evident that the construction of the basement post-dated the Fort Marcy period. And so this would have been done after the fort was decommissioned and turned over to the city. And just as a kind of amusing side note, in the bottom of the concrete, we also found the rusted impression of a wire coat hanger. So we know that the coat hangers were post date 1903, which is when the patent was filed. So pretty secure dating of that floor. In the southwest area, oh, sorry, we did remove all of the fill in that northern structure down to 5 feet. The foundations were fully removed. And we terminated either on sterile alluvium or that basement. So.
Was that, I'm trying to read the tiny things there. How far down is that?
So that's 1.3 meters
Uh-huh.
to the top of the wall.
To here?
To the top of the, yes, to here.
Okay.
And then
up to
it's
grade?
And then up to grade, it's about almost 2 meters. Just shy of 2 meters. I want to say it was 1.8. So and so in the southwest area, there's a lot of text here and I won't burden you with it. I'll just go ahead and talk specifically from the photos. So if you remember last time, we had these wooden juniper beams that were extending across. Once we exposed the entirety of this feature, we realized that the wooden beams that spanned the top of the feature only occurred in this one location. So we are pretty, I think we have good reason to believe that this represents a wooden footbridge that would have gone across the feature, this trench. And you can see on the following page 5, happened was take out the and then put in the whole line there. Then along the entire and then it would fill in behind with rock. The rock was What we did, and then from there, we built very obvious here. There was lower infill in that, and then the upper infill was a mix of the so we had lenses of adobe melt throughout that was mixed in with a lot of gravel. It looked like in a couple of there were some sheet wash or some channeling that went through and deposited a bed of really fine sand through here. So we removed that upper fill mechanically and then focused our excavations in the bottom of the trench using 4 2-meter long exposures, which you can see one of them on page 7. And we did the controlled excavations of those sections.
Well, I mean, this is fairly complex construction. Do you have a sense of what this trench was used for? What it's done for us?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So,
It reminds me of half a world away in 1917. I mean, that's what it looks like.
oh, yeah. So we're all on the exact same page. So before I get to that, there's one other set. So we also, on the north side, there was a staircase. I'm sorry, I don't have a photo of that presented in here, but there was a staircase that came in from the north side. And then on the south side, we see on page 8, a very long ramped entry into this trench. So, and again, constructed in the exact same manner. So that kind of gets to the construction of this thing. In terms of the artifacts, we have, so in the upper fill that we mechanically removed, I did have the crew go through and pull a judgmental sample. I could use the word judicious because they pulled out about 5,000 shirts. But we pulled a judgmental sample of the artifacts coming out of that upper fill. And then we did 100% screening and collection of the lower fill that we hand excavated. In terms of the shirts that we pulled out, we have a lot of Sakona poly. And we have Pahogi polychromes as well. There's a number of soup plates out of the fill. And those are, I haven't done the full scan, but those are mostly Sakona. And in talking with Dee Dee Snow over the last few days, actually a couple weeks, she reminded me, she asked me to check to see if there's any square vessels. And indeed, I realized that I actually did see a couple very flat, unusual shirts. And I could not recall what they were when I first saw them. I was like, wait a minute, I know I've seen that before. That's odd. But I just kind of put it aside and told myself to go look at it again. And when she asked me if I had seen any square vessels, it clicked. Oh, I just saw the base of a square vessel. So all of the pottery really ties us into that 1600s. And in terms of the function of this, it does look very military. And to that point, we have French gun flints in there. Gun flints. So we have at least 2 pieces. We haven't gone through all of the lithics yet because the crew didn't realize what they were looking for. So we do have a number of lithics out of this. But luckily, one of the individuals who was there, who actually found one, was one of my lithic specialists who said, hey, that's a French gun flint. And a beautiful green with white kind of flecking in it. So textbook textbook piece. So, based on what we're looking at here, this very much appears to me to be 1600s. And there are notations in some of the records about there being, the two towers and parts of a fort that were constructed at the same time as the Palace of the Governors, or at least a presidial, a presidio palace, whatever. Not whatever, but
It's late.
it's late. So I do suspect that what we're looking at is evidence of a 1600s, evidence of the 1600s fort. So yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, and it does, like I said, it extends out into the street. For how far, we don't know. This did appear in the GPR. When we saw it in the GPR, Jenny Strum said, "Hey, I think you got a cellar there. There's something weird there." So when we opened it up, I mean, obviously it's not a cellar, but what I'm trying to convey is that this has a GPR signature that if the city wished to, the city could follow it out along Grand Avenue. So, I mean, it's a very clear signature, especially now that we know what it looks like. So.
Yeah, it wouldn't make much sense as a US Army trench because it's like between the officers' quarters.
It's-
Unless they're firing on each other.
Yeah,
You get
you can see on page, on page
You have a
9,
mark.
this thing literally just barely got missed by not just that officer's quarters, but just north of it, was the 1920s warehouse, 30s warehouse. And that foundation went, down 5 feet. So it would have clipped this structure and it missed it. So, just pure luck that everything missed this feature all the way to construction. So.
It blows. It is not. I just sent you a picture of it.
It's not the same.
I was like, oh, man.
How would you have missed this?
But, over 10 years later, you can convince yourself that you're an idiot. You see, for me. No, it was a pile of boulders
Okay.
that did not have any, there's 5 of them.
I did at the SAs present this to several people. There's a couple individuals who have backgrounds in Spanish forts. And when they saw this, they all said the exact same thing, which was, this looks military construction. In fact, one individual who's got experience on Spanish forts, he actually said that this is almost identical to how a lot of the exterior defensive trenches were constructed on forts, except instead of cobbles, they used tamped earth. So,
Use what you have.
what's that?
We use what you have.
Which had,
Right.
so,
Presumably these individuals are forthcoming with references and
Yes.
comparative photos that we can.
This means that now anybody working in this neighborhood now has a brand new thing to look out for.
I did, yes, I did show this to Stephen Gilbert and said, hey, better watch out.
So Robin, where does this trench come in, or this ramp come into the trench? Where?
So it's, so if you look at the far east end, you can see the two little, kind of little spurs that run north and south. So that, yeah, the ramp that you have a photo of here is the south ramp.
Okay.
So the south ramp was quite long, whereas the steps on the north side were only about 2 meters. So, in terms of distance.
The ramp is at least 4 meters.
May even be longer than that.
Because when I was standing out there, I would only get so close to the edge of the trench, and I was just.
Yeah, it's quite long. It's quite long.
And the overall length of the trench is,
We have it measured tentatively at 23 meters.
It'll be covered up over or?
So, in terms of long-term plans, that's still under consideration. The Georgia O'Keeffe design team is looking at how they can potentially preserve this in situ. One of the options that we're exploring is filling it back in and then tamping the fill back down, and then just preserving it below ground that way. So, and that's kind of the option. I think that's the leading option if we can exercise it. Yeah.
Shrink swell.
That's
Make sure
exactly.
you can tap it where the building's gonna fall.
That's exactly the design concern that they're constraints that they're evaluating.
So. I'm gonna show my ignorance of military things here, but, I mean, this profile clearly had the steep side and the shallow side, less steep. And doesn't that typically indicate a friendly side and a firing side? But I never know which is which.
Potentially. They're because of the way this trench was laid out, there's a lot of flex on the walls that has happened. And so we're gonna have to wait to see. When we took our measurements of the entire wall, we took base measurements and top measurements of the edge of the trench. So hopefully that holds the whole length of it. Don't know if it will.
But nothing else that might help you.
But that's a fantastic observation.
Where they were trying to protect, right? I mean, on one side or the other side. Yeah.
I had that same concern when we were out there, but
Because given its orientation, it doesn't make immediate sense when you compare it to where we think the other facilities in the Presidio were located. It's like, how does this get to?
yeah. Looking at the location of this on the historic maps that we have, this doesn't match anything with like any of the historic maps that we have of the fort of the Presidio. So this it doesn't match any of those locations, so it has to predate. So
Very. I just.
And this is given the theme of the day, the acequia. There's an acequia.
yes, and so the acequia that we had, it was again something that showed up in the GPR fairly high up, and it appears to be contiguous, or at least it appears that it will intersect somewhere a little bit higher up with the ditch that was identified by OAS during their testing, which I don't know, since you're still here. Which I think based on the maps that we saw that you guys had produced, where that trench was, I think that looks like it might be the trench or the ditch that ran through the center of the Presidio, the Spanish Presidio, that there was an east-west. We'd have to compare the maps and kind of project onto those earlier maps to see if where the trench was that OAS had, or not trench, but the ditch that OAS had matches up with that Presidio ditch. So, but this does appear to kind of go straight towards it. So. Cool.
Okay.
Yes.
And is there a tour that will be available
There was today, wasn't there?
There was,
I missed it.
there was a plan for a tour and it was canceled
Oh,
by
I
the,
didn't.
by the OP. And there's a discussion about it being rescheduled. So I will let you know. I will also throw out there that if the city wishes to exercise certain options in the MOA, they have that option.
Surprise. Here we are.
They have the ability to exercise that option. So I would encourage you to review the MOA, as Pueblo Tesuque has.
Okay.
So. Yes.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The first two people I saw when I got to the SAT meeting.
Yep.
First topic of discussion, him showing all these pictures. Well, they were a couple of exciting topics.
Thanks.
Thank you. So we've got Museum of New Mexico Office of Archaeological Studies presenting results from test excavation and retest pits at LA 101161 Santa Fe Botanical Garden along Camino Lejo, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Chair.
So I can introduce the city manager, Karen. So this is the committee, the archaeological committee, so. Let's see, few words.
I'll just say that I've been doing local government jobs for 48 years. Making me a bit of an archaeological teacher myself, but,
2 years ago.
this is as much fun as I've ever had in a meeting. That was fascinating. I had no idea. So I only stepped in because I saw you all working late on a Thursday night and I wondered who in the world you are. And then I found out, fortunately, and I got to come by and say hello. And I always want to say thank you to people who volunteer and step up and do these things. So, and you even laugh in your meetings.
Mostly at ourselves.
Isn't that healthy?
Yeah. Thank you for showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, and I can tell you all about it later. But it is a rare event when we actually get someone from Upper Lansing who actually comes by.
I love what I get to do. I'm, like I said, I've been running. I'm lucky I still get to do it. And I get to do it. I love to do it because I get to meet people and I've never had an archaeological review committee. This is my 12th city manager job. I've never had one of these. So this is a rare opportunity for me too.
Well, we're glad we're here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And remember what you heard. He said, this feature, 70 some feet long and 10 feet wide, was missed by everything that happened on this property until now.
Yeah.
And it missed by that much. So that's what downtown Santa Fe's like.
Yeah.
We dig a hole and there's nothing. You scratch the edge and, oh my God. We're harping all the time about centimeters.
Yes.
Not even inches of what is where and.
Getting ready to do that on the next slide.
Yeah.
I appreciate having the chance to hear this and I'll be back.
Thank you.
Yeah, usually the only grass we see is the city attorney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chair X, item B and C, we do not have representatives here for those items. So those can be removed from the agenda now.
Unless people want to talk about
Well, the first one I do. Because it's troubling that it's. Oh, that's a sign. You want to jump in? Go for it. So, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but I'm looking at page. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Page 35, I think the text. Well, I'll just sum it up. So, it did 3 test bits. The narrative descriptions all say between 43 and 45 centimeters below surface. But the pictures tell a different story. That's not 45, that's 105.
Right.
The next one is even more egregious, that's not 45, that's 25.
Yes, things are not adding up. I actually pulled out a scale and started measuring and.
I mean, at the test pit depths themselves.
Right.
So they're claiming one thing, and photos telling another.
Yes, I don't understand test pit.
Well,
Well, I think you understand it more than the people on the field.
to be fair, some of the photographs might be in progress at the bottom of a level and not when we're done. And to be doubly fair, the person who actually knew what was going on is no longer with the entity in question, so it would be difficult to get clarification. There also was an alarming shift between measurements below ground surface or measurements below datum. In order to make half of this make sense, you have to envision a datum floating somewhere in space and back figure the dimensions given, or they don't make any sense. And the photos definitely don't help. And you zeroed in exactly on what I had put.
Just the, the image of the floor, it certainly doesn't look like steroid.
No, it doesn't, not for the location,
I mean, there's no break in spaghetti, there's no cobble at the bottom, there's no calcium carbonate, any of the usual indicators, so. Right.
Well, they did say they just terminated 2 levels below the last place they saw something, and in all cases, the last place they saw something was on the surface. And depending on the slope of the land, you terminate 2 levels below that, well, you could be almost a half a meter down over here. Yeah, maybe that's what's going on, but we'll never know.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, say they were measuring the low side in the picture and the high side in the graphics, or in the verbal description, but. I don't know, we harp on other contractors all the time about this, and now it's like, oh, yes, it's turned, and they're not here, so.
But it can be measured.
Yeah.
Or not, it's an administrative.
Yeah.
So we don't approve it one way or the
No,
other.
we're just.
I'm just writing, that's.
It's a source of information,
Thank you.
or as the guys in uniform would say, it's intel.
Okay.
Or maybe a caution to look close next time. It's a more appropriate.
So then the next one is for the monitoring of a wastewater line installation along Tharassos Lane within the Alafria Schoolhouse site, LA2. Just for your information, sir.
Yeah.
The Laboratory of Anthropology site number series. It's LA for Laboratory of Anthropology, and then a sequential number. And we're up into the 210 something.
Yeah.
For the state.
210,000. Yeah. Oh my God.
This,
Welcome to Santa Fe.
this is monitoring in LA. The second place deemed worthy of documentation and instability. The first place is just across the river from this. It's LA1. Otherwise known as Indy Photos. And oh my goodness.
Yes.
So there was a reason to do the monitoring beyond the basic city requirements. So any observations about this?
No, sir.
Nothing that I believe.
Well, being soils deep again, I am unhappy with the fact that the section discussing soils does not have a citation. I know where the map came from. And similar to what I said to Mr. Winters earlier, the soil on a postage stamp is not very informative because the scale of accuracy on the data provided requires that you're looking at least a 1/24,000 scale. And actually, they don't certify it down to even that level. So this map doesn't mean anything. You look at the actual area, there are potentially 4 or 5 different soil types in here, all of which would be informative if you found anything in the trench that was of interest, such as the natural feature recorded as a drainage. Knowing what the soil variability is the only point in discussing what soils are there. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. You can dig it, great. If you can't, okay. But they have to mean something.
So you're saying this map
Is junk.
is because it's,
It's too small. It's too small.
and it's not showing you anything around it and
That's because,
where it's a part of a complex and it didn't occur by itself, et cetera.
Well, yeah, it's still the accuracy is the other map showed.
Right.
Yeah.
Each section.
Yeah, that's if they're clean the soil conservation.
just 50 feet away from what's depicted here, there's 2 different soil types. And given the scale of accuracy, both of those could be in here. And the one that's illustrated might not be, because it's that soft.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
And the fact that it's so close to what the other
LA
side,
too.
yeah.
Actually, part of this trench is in the
Yeah.
boundary
Well,
as defined for LA2. And those boundaries we know are often very arbitrary based on
Well,
something you tripped over.
there was, so, like, 3 days after I had voting. Cause Bodie almost went out there at 3 days old, because the construction guys hit a burial on this area. That when they got out, it was on a Saturday. And because it was outside the site, there was no monitor, but when they got out there, the construction guys had tried to relay out the remains as they imagined it should be anatomically.
What part of don't, that's the thing, people not understand.
Cause I was like, I can go out there, it'll be fun, we're not going anywhere. What do you take a lot of paper, it's out there, it's 3 days.
And that was just a short distance away from this trench.
So it was not far from this, I know, I wasn't on to allow. It was one of these very little side streets there.
So the corollary to that, Mike, right, about the illustrations on page 19. Profile of the trench. Nothing that tells us where in the trench to profile. Yeah. Zip. Nada. Not informative. Because if the next person goes out there and leaves a trench right next to it and is or isn't expecting something based on where they do or don't think this thing is, they haven't served.
There is a notation in the caption that says it's 12.5 meters from Upper Deer Street. But a map showing that with a power button.
Anyhow. So your earlier comment flies, but we would say something about it. All other contractors, we would say something about it again, even if it is just an FYI. Okay, that's it. We have your templates.
Yes, Chair.
And did some of the people actually use them?
Chair, we did a social experiment, and we gave Dr. Blendon, Dr. Seltzer Rogers, and Mr. Lovin these templates. And just to see how it worked out, and we all got totally different examples, kind of. And so, but I think this template's gonna work good. We wanted your input, you wanted additional information, take some information out. Add to the work chart, whatever works best for you for your review.
would appreciate you saying for suburban archaeology, this many hours, for downtown, this many hours, for the river, this many hours, or whatever those different hours are.
Chair, I believe that's determined by the ARC on the hour. Well, hours are depicted by 6 hours equals 1 day.
Whatever the.
Counting days.
Right,
Yeah, they usually
you're-
want-
You're talking about how,
how
what,
we-
yes,
Yeah.
the count for,
Subtotals.
the totals or,
yeah.
or
Right.
just for the different
Yeah, cause I
level.
tried to put mine into the categories.
Yeah.
And I could have easily put in a subtotal for each of the districts.
Yeah,
Oh,
That would be
totals
nice.
for district.
Yeah.
particularly when they're trying to
Thank you
apply
for-
for downtown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Many people don't have any experience here in Santa Fe.
Right.
I don't know if Mr. Lovin has ever done any work in the city or county.
He has, some
Yeah.
In the county.
Dr. Linden's gonna take care of that.
Oh. Well, I think we're working, I know the city's working hard to get Dr. Blendon. We need him. We need him.
The other thing I would say is it's still a little tedious to do the subtractions to get rid of the field tech out days, because we don't really count
Yeah.
that for,
Right.
so
Yeah.
distinguishing between, field crew and supervisory level, there's still room for improvement there.
Okay.
Cause we're not approving, we just field crew.
Yeah.
we're approving supervisor.
Yeah.
So all the field crew level stuff just doesn't matter.
Maybe that could be stated on there, I mean, I know that in the first thing you have. Principal, crew, leader and all those, but maybe say, this is all we're interested in, we don't care about it.
And on the bottom, it says,
Supervisory only. but-
Yeah.
on the bottom, it says, on the top, it says, well, when you deal with human beings, they're gonna give you something different every time.
Yeah.
Put it on the, they want you
I,
to.
I would put it there under chart of experience,
Okay.
like
Field, supervisory only.
Yes.
Got it.
supervisory experience only.
That's great.
And that was a mix of them putting, I mean, going back and trying to put your entire chart of experience together, if you
Oh.
have lost it, is one of the most painful experiences in the world.
Tell me about it.
Well, a couple of people said, hell with it, I just won't work in.
I have a series of computers as they become obsolete, and I'm like, oh, wait, maybe it's on there. Now I email them, so I can go back through my email and find.
So as additional thoughts occur to you, please communicate them to Paul. He can tweak it more than once. It's not cutting it dry.
Well, the template definitely helps, even the
Yeah.
worst of the three that we saw today was better than the average of what we've always had.
Anything else, Mr. and Ms. Administrators?
I do have one item, so the Santa Fe Land Development Code Update Phase 1 will be coming before you. Now, the goalpost has moved to June 26th. And so we will take the cases that we had from this hearing withdrawn to the next, will probably be the only cases on that agenda and everything. So July will probably be a hefty caseload as well for us to make up. So I just wanted, again, so this is a tentative. I won't know further until next week, so I can send you an email to confirm that. But I just want to let you know that we just got word on a draft timing.
So no plans will be reviewed next meeting if.
Other than what we just.
Other than what we had from today that was postponed to date certain of next hearing.
Okay.
Right.
And only if they get them in time.
Right.
And, right. So, and if anybody would apply, we would let them know that, that hearing will be taken up with our draft code update.
So
That's all from staff.
Okay, then Many members, if y'all have anything, ratings, announce. Sell.
You have one question, but given the number of lawyers that are like getting involved, and the fact we don't have our attorney here to say, tell me what I can and can't say, I'm just gonna announce it until we bang the gavel.
Waiting for.
Can I just say one thing? I forgot, there was a typo on, a date of, Ron, one of Ron's reports. On the first page, it like said 20,540 or something like that. And I was gonna mention it after, the meeting, but he left. He was not happy.
Yes, that happens.
So,
Happens.
yeah. So you might just look, I think it was the first one that we were to cover tonight. And it's on the first page of his, major report thing. Okay. The official report.
I'll review that. Thank you, member Choose.
Oh, I do believe I have one more item.
Go ahead.
I wanted to thank you for presenting at our Historic Preservation Heritage Awards. You did a very nice job. Thank you. As well.
I appreciate the thanks. Just so everybody knows, I hate talking in front of a bunch of people. I really do.
I know, but we appreciate it.
And if you've been with me at Folsom last Saturday, you would never have believed it because I talked my bloody head off for 8 hours straight. So.
Okay, second.
I didn't hear a motion.
I would be.
There one more typo. And it was in minutes. Antonio Laguz. Verify where he lives, because I don't think he lives on a street that's spelled the way it is.
Okay.
I think he lives on Galleta,
Okay.
as opposed to Gayette.
Yours is fair.
Thank you, Jay. So, motion.
That we adjourn until June 26th.
Moved and second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. We are, anybody say anything until she says, for